I'm a little early this morning. Yay, me. I'm also back on all of the platforms this morning. So I have TikTok happening up here. I have Substack, yeah, the Tube of You, and the Book of Faces down here. So we will see how this goes. Hey, Royalty, good to see you. Good morning, Barry. Good morning, Maya Reeds. How is everyone? Good morning, Jane Ice. Good to see you. So, folks, if you are joining me anywhere other than TikTok, please make sure that you speak when you come in, or I will not see you and I can't greet you. What's up, Kadan? Hey, Mary. Good morning, Conchita. How are you? Candy Kiss. Hello, hello. What's up, Doug? Hey, David. What's up, everybody? Melinda, Sharon, Allie Nicole. Good to see everybody. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Taz. What's up, Veronica? What's up, Casey? How are you? Farah, Neuro Mama, Rachel, good to see you. I think I said LaMonica. Hey, Carmen. What's up? Laughed it out. What's up, Melinda, Tara Love? Good to see you. Red Hot, good morning. Hey, Clint, good morning. Good to see you. Grand Rising to you. Hey, Lena, Kimber, Tech Lady, good to see you guys. Folks, make sure, good morning, Sunflower Fish. Eric, good to see you as well. Folks, if you are, hey, Sexy Sand, hey, Sandy, you just saw me, you did just see me. So for those of you guys who are anywhere other than TikTok, I am. I was on at 1 in the morning Eastern Standard Time with the Speak Up School in Gaza, with the children there, and they shared with us their English that they are learning in their classes, and some of their things that they do every day. What is their daily routine? And they sang for us and all kinds of things, and so we love that. Hey, Nini, how is everyone? What's up, Sue? Candy Kiss. I'm not sure who all I've said hi to now. What's up, Jen? I saw when Dixie come in. So I'm glad to see everybody. I know that I have been absent off of YouTube and Facebook and all the things, but I am still not set up with the new system, and so it's just like, ugh, you know what I mean? I need to get it all done, and I didn't feel well the last 2 days. So, I just haven't done. You can't send a heart me, probably because you sent one when we were on with the kids. So if you sent a heart me, hey Witch, hey John, hey Sarah, if you sent a heart me when we were on at 1 to 2:30 this morning, you probably can't send one now. But that's okay. Make sure that you still click your little heart up there and claim your points if you're on the tick of talk, and that would be beneficial for you and for me as well. So some of you guys may notice the graphic that I have today. And the quote is actually from Donald Trump himself yesterday. So, yesterday, Donald Trump had a breakfast with Republican senators. You can actually watch his speech and what he said to them while the press was present. You can watch that over on YouTube if you didn't get a chance to see it. Good morning, K Mac. And during that, he said, "Nobody has a bigger heart than me." And I find that to be a really interesting perspective to have about himself, given the situation that we are in. What's up, New World Mama? I see you on the tube of you as well. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because there is some analysis that has come out about the SNAP proposal that they put out yesterday. Yeah. Y'all know he says stuff like that. Nobody has a bigger heart than me. Nobody knows more about the environment than me. Nobody knows more about this than me. You know what I mean? He says that all the time. So, but that is something that he did say yesterday. And so I thought that it was an appropriate background to have today, an appropriate image for us to use today as we talk about the reality of the SNAP benefit plan that the USDA put out yesterday. So if you saw that plan, you may think that everybody's getting half of their SNAP benefits. That's not necessarily true. It depends upon where your income is. Hey, Sean Brown, good to see you on the tube of you. And so it's not true. It depends upon the income that you're at, what you already get, and all of those things. And it does not matter. Let me just be clear. It doesn't matter if that income is coming from disability, from Social Security, from, any of those, retirement. That's not what it's based on. And so it's really important. So the Centers for, give me 1 second while I pull it up. The Center for Budget and Policy Priorities. Now, I will tell you that this particular organization is quote unquote left leaning. I don't really know what that means. But they did, they're a research and policy institute. And so they analyzed the USDA benefits payment plan that came out yesterday. Hey, Jamie, good to see you. What's up, Dad Jokes? Hello, Mohammed. And so um, roughly 40% of the households that currently get the maximum amount of food stamp benefits will see those payments cut by about half. However, there's some other folks that may not get anything at all. And we're going to talk about what this means for everybody. What's up, Good Trouble? No, SNAP benefits is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So that's what it is. It is just food. It's EBT, the old school days, as they called it. They called it food stamps, right? That's what it is. They just call it EBT now, or the SNAP benefits. So, hey, Robert, how are you? And so, yeah, but that's not across the board, Sexy Sand. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to go through the entire analysis because there's about 1.2 million people, hey, Roberta, who aren't going to get anything. And there are some 1 to 2 person households that will get just $12. So it's important for us to like actually talk about this in its entirety because it's just not that simple, right? And so it's very important for people to know like how the program is and what it's going to look like. So hey, Mama, good morning. So that is one of the reasons why I have this graphic today, is because of those two things that have happened within 24 hours of each other, or on the same day, actually. So on the same day that the Trump administration put out a partial SNAP benefit payment plan, he had a luxurious breakfast with Republican senators in the White House yesterday morning, and where, right, hey Lisa, where he talked about what the election meant for everyone else, and what the party needs to do about it, and all of that kind of stuff. And so they're having this great breakfast for Republican senators in the White House yesterday, while they are rolling out a partial payment plan for people who need food. Well, it's not just Elon. So Sexy Sand, it's really important for people to understand when they say, so she just asked me, for those of you guys who can't see it, hey, Sage, she said, Dani, do you remember when Elon Musk said that people will suffer for a day or two? It's important to know that Elon Musk is not who came up with a plan that's going to make the American people suffer for a couple of years. That's actually the Heritage Foundation. And it's not like you're going to suffer and then things are going to get drastically better. You're going to suffer for a little bit and you are going to adjust, which is what happens. This came out in Project 2025. Kevin Roberts from the Heritage Foundation wrote about this in his book that, what's it called? Dawn's Early Light, right? Burning down America, burning down Washington to save America. And J.D. Vance wrote the foreword to that book. And so in that book, J.D. Vance, along with Kevin Roberts, they state that it is going to hurt, but that they believe it's going to be worth it in the long run. And my thing is, worth it for who? Worth it for the ultra rich? Good morning, Witch. Or worth it for the corporations? Worth it for the centime millionaires, the already billionaires? Sure, it's probably going to be worth it for them, but it is not going to be worth it for the average American citizen, and that's a problem. And the bottom line is, we don't have to hurt to get the country on the right track, right? That's not this idea that it is average people, working class people, and poor people that need to hurt is ridiculous, right? And no one should be buying into it. No one, not a single soul, should be buying into that. It's one of the reasons I put out a video right before I went live. I have to put it on my other platforms, but I put it out on TikTok. And one of the things that I said, good morning, Titus, is that, if you are someone who voted for Donald Trump, if you are someone who has been a lifelong Republican, and that's how you identify, what you need to understand is that it is right. Yes, 100%. Exactly, Rachel. And we're going to get to all of that as well. But so here's the thing, if you've always identified as a Republican and you are watching this administration that is blatantly in your face, letting you know that they are not interested in the average American person, right? Um, you don't have to try to twist yourself into a pretzel to justify it, right? Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Angie. Hey, Jen. You don't have to keep trying to justify what this administration is doing, right? You don't have to do that. You can just simply say, oh, my party has changed. The Republican Party that I've always belonged to is no longer the same, right? And because the Republican Party that that I've always belonged to is no longer the same, I can change too. If my party can change, I can change. And I am not telling you to go run out and join the Democratic Party or the Independent Party or the Green Tea Party or the any other. I'm not telling you to do that. Like, here's what I am saying to you is look at your candidate, look at the people that are in office, cover up the letter that is beside their name, and look at that person, look at their heart, look at their policies, look at their track record, and then vote for and support the people that are actually doing the things that are best for your community. Adrian, cruelty is not the point. And I wish people would stop saying that. Cruelty is not the point. And the more that people keep saying that, the more you are missing what it is about. For them, it is money is the point. Money is the point for them, but not you. You understand that, right? It's not cruelty. The cruelty is a byproduct. And they don't care if the cruelty is there or not. They are interested in the money and the power. And if cruelty just happens to be something that regular everyday people experience as a byproduct, it doesn't matter. Right? Period. That's just the way that it is. Roy, honey, if you've got something that you would like to talk about, please join the panel. I'm happy to have this conversation with you, Roy. And for those of you, let me ask you this. If you are new to my live, please put a 1 in the comments. If you are new to my live, please put a 1 in the comments so we can just take a minute and level set for a moment so that you are aware of the place where you have stumbled your way into. Okay. Good morning, Living with the Louds. Good to see you. Okay, welcome new people. Love that. Yay. Okay, so I ask for 4 things in this space, and they are very simple things that I think every adult ought to be able to do. Okay. Hey, Wawa. So the first is you see them up here, and for you guys, they're over here. It is be respectful. That's it. If we're going to have conversation, if we are going to discuss the things that are happening in this country and around the world, right, then just simply be respectful. Okay. Number 2, do not use slurs of any kind. If you use slurs, you will be muted and or booted from this live. Just right on out of here. Okay. Number 3, don't spam my comments. If you have got something to say it once. You can even say it twice, but there is no need to say the exact same thing over and over and over. Not only does it clog up the comments and it prevents other people from being able to engage in the conversation, it hurts the algorithm. Okay. And then the last one is very simple. Don't type in all caps. Why do I say that? Because all caps are reserved for my moderators. Okay. In case I really need to see something, and for my folks that are vision impaired. So if that ain't you, then we won't do that. Okay, great. Roy is up. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Good morning, Roy. How are you? Good morning, Roy. How are you?
I'm super. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you great. I can hear you great. So you had something to say with regard to the government shutdown.
Said a couple things.
Sure.
Just the leverage is kind of bothersome. Now that the EBT issued 1964, shutdowns have never really stopped EBT before, including this time. Now that holiday travel and TSA is kind of in jeopardy, when do you think that will stop? Is it only when Obamacare is approved, or what's going on?
Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, if that's what you're referring to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
isn't something that gets approved. It's a law. Like it's not something
Well, it's
that's
being
getting.
negotiated.
No,
Uh,
no. The only thing that's being addressed are subsidies.
yeah, funding for it.
No, it's not funding for the Affordable Care Act. It is subsidies. It is credits for individuals that are purchasing their health care from the marketplace, right? And those subsidies are there so that they can continue to afford their premiums
And
because
this is
they are set
strictly
to
for
expire at the
people
end
who
of
have
this year.
done the Affordable Care Act, or is it for any other people? That why is this being used today?
Well, it's not being used at all. So everyone
But why
knew,
is the
every
government shutting
member,
down?
hold on, you asked me a question and I'm answering.
Yeah.
Okay, so every member of Congress is aware that these subsidies are set to expire at the end of this year. Okay, everyone is aware of that. So something has to be done in order to address those. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, and the Affordable Care Act is for absolutely anyone who needs insurance. Okay. So
Anyone, yes.
yeah,
Very,
and
very, very direct form. Yes, yes.
well, no, it's not. So let me be clear about that. It's actually written. Have you ever read the Affordable Care Act?
In its entirety, maybe a long time ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. So then you would know if you actually read it 2 or 3 years ago, you would know that it specifically says that it doesn't apply to anyone that is not a citizen, right?
Okay.
Or that, yeah. So it's not. So when we say anyone, what we mean are American citizens, right? And
How does that
and
happen though?
can I finish what I'm saying?
Land it.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. So, or for example, if your state, because 8 USC 1611, that is the federal law that governs federally funded benefits. Okay. So, any federally funded program, an undocumented immigrant, right, who does not have legal status here, they don't qualify for a benefit at all if it is federally funded. Now, just like everything else that exists in this country, individual states have the right to pass a law for their state that allows people to qualify under whatever conditions for their state. So, an example of that would be Illinois, California. They have laws that say, so like in New York, even if you are working, because after someone has been here for 6 months, hey, Kevin, hey, Thomas, hey, Molly, after someone has been here for 6 months in the US, they can apply for a work permit. And so once they are granted that work permit and they are issued their individual tax identification number, their ITIN number, then they can work like everybody else, right? Just go out and get a job. And so in New York, if you are an undocumented immigrant who has your work permit, then you can actually purchase the insurance from the marketplace through the Healthy New York program, but it is not a free benefit. You're purchasing that insurance and only if you're working. So, but that's through the state side, right? So it's important for everyone to understand when we talk about these subsidies, we are talking about these subsidies for American citizens who qualify, who are purchasing their health insurance through the ACA marketplace. So everyone in Congress has been aware for the last decade that these subsidies were set to expire and they would need to be voted on, so or they would need to be extended in order for us to in order for about I don't know, millions of Americans to maintain access to their health insurance. And so what the Democratic Senate is saying is, listen, we have an opportunity with this continuing resolution to simply add these subsidies in, make sure that they don't expire before Congress takes their break for the holidays, and American citizens don't have to worry about not being able to purchase their insurance come January. That's it. And that's not a difficult thing to do. Everybody knew that this was something that was going to have to happen. So rather than require two separate votes, right, we have a continuing resolution. So we should add the continuing subsidies into the continuing resolution and just be done. And then we don't have to worry about holidays and schedules and making sure that everybody can vote on this before they take their break for the season.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so federally funded hospitals, all that situation.
I didn't say hospitals.
Why, like, if I need to use the emergency room, am I going to be turned away to be stabilized?
Okay, hold on. You're talking about two different things. Hold on. You're talking about two different things. I never mentioned hospitals. I never mentioned hospitals, Roy.
Okay, Affordable Care Act covers hospital.
No,
right?
Affordable Care Act is insurance and has nothing to do with hospitals.
Yes. Okay,
right.
So, do non-citizens utilize programs or institutions of Medicaid sorry, I'm actually using them because I have MS. Hold on one second.
No problem.
Do non-citizens use emergency care services?
Every person in the United States of America has access to the emergency room. Everyone.
Who funds that?
What do you mean, who funds it?
Who funds doctors when people don't pay?
Well, sometimes the hospitals take a loss. Now, it just depends so this is where you get a little complicated. And I want to be clear that these two things don't have anything to do with subsidies for the ACA, because the subsidies are only for American citizens. Okay, so let's be clear about that and make that distinction. When we talk about this, this is not connected to SNAP benefits. They are not.
I'm not talking about SNAP.
Right, but that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about, so let me be clear. When we're talking about the Affordable Care Act and these subsidies that the Democratic Senate is asking to be added to the continuing resolution, that has nothing to do with EMTALA. It has nothing to do with hospitals. It has nothing to do with emergency room access. These two things don't have anything to do with each other. So I guess my question to you is this. Here's my question. If the only thing that is holding up the government being open and everything, and TSA people being paid, and you have, your SNAP benefits being paid out to people and all of those things, right? If the only thing that is holding that up is the GOP members of the Senate agreeing to go ahead and continue these subsidies for American citizens who are purchasing their health insurance and adding that into the continuing resolution that is already on the table, wouldn't it make sense to do that rather than try to require a second vote to get that done before the end of the year?
As opposed to
not adding in those subsidies and allowing American citizens to not be able to afford their insurance premiums come January 1st and the government staying shut down.
I'd have to think about that.
Okay, well, let's take it. Well, wait, because I want to make sure that we finish one subject before we go to another. So this is the question, and for me, I hope I'm framing it as clear as possible. So these are the choices. The choice is we have a continuing resolution, right, that would keep the government open, right? And the only thing that Senate Democrats are asking is to have the subsidies that are already existing for American citizens to afford their health insurance added so that they can continue to the continuing resolution, so they can do one vote, right? One time, they pass that sucker and you take care of all of it at the same time, instead of advancing the continuing resolution and then having to get all of Congress together to pass a separate subsidy continuation for healthcare before the holidays and the end of the session. Why would we not want to do those two things at the same time so that Americans are taken care of across the board?
At the expense of EBT and...
No, it doesn't. No, it's not at the expense of EBT.
It does, because it's one or the other, and
no, it is not one or the other. So let me be clear about that. No, it is not. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but how much do SNAP benefits cost to fulfill.
But how much do SNAP benefits?
So you started echoing. Are you recording? Yeah. Yes, the continuing resolution only covers up to the November 21st. I'm sorry, what? Hey, Celica. Oh, I don't mind if Roy records. I just think that Roy should ask if it's okay if he records. Hey, Grandma Rocks. Well, I don't know. When you say you're not recording, but your phone is acting weird, you've been up here for a while and the echo wasn't there. And then all of a sudden the echo starts. So that typically happens when someone is recording. Yes, he did say that he has MS, Sandy. He did. You can drop and request back. Sure. I'll take you down and you can request right back up. Sure. It's okay, guys. It is okay. Listen, so remember, guys, there are almost 300 people in this room. When Roy is on the panel and I'm answering his questions, he's not the only one that is hearing the information that he and I are discussing. So it's a benefit to everybody else in the room to hear this conversation. Yeah, I'm going to go after what people are getting SNAP. I'm going to go after that, and I'm going to go over that in just a second, Nicole. Like, I literally have the plan that they released yesterday out along with the analysis so that people can understand exactly what's happening. Roy, I don't see that you've requested back up. Yeah, but so Rylene, that doesn't actually really apply right now because this is a public broadcast. So two different things. Hey, Marcus, good to see you. Okay, Roy. And you said you're not recording, right?
Yeah, something weird's happening.
Okay, no worries. All right, so here's the thing. So here's all that I'm saying. The only reason that the government is shut down right now is because the continuing resolution hasn't been passed. And the only thing that Senate Democrats are asking in order to pass that continuing resolution is to add the healthcare subsidies to that resolution so that they can continue, right? And American citizens can still have access to their insurance and still be able to afford their insurance come January 1. Now, in order to like open the government, have SNAP and everything else fully funded, all Senate GOP people have to do is say, great, we will add those healthcare subsidies to this continuing resolution. We'll be able to take care of everything with one vote, and boom, government's back open and everything as well. So why would we not want to do that instead of passing the continuing resolution and then hoping we get a second vote on healthcare subsidies before they take their break for the holidays and they end the session? Why wouldn't we just want to get things done as efficiently as possible with one vote?
It doesn't, like, on its face, the value of it doesn't seem to be valuable considering it does come into conflict with these two specific issues that are kind of being used as a leverage to ensure that these votes are being pushed time specifically.
What's being used as leverage?
Just like the instance of TSA not being able to push people through for holiday travel.
Well, no, that's not leverage. That's because
it's been kind of like already absolved.
But that's because the government is shut down. If Republicans want the government open, all they have to do is say, yes, American citizens, we will happily add the healthcare subsidies into this continuing resolution so you can continue to pay for your healthcare. That's it.
But would you say that the Republicans are using this as leverage, or is this just a...
Nobody's using anything as leverage. Nobody's using anything as... So here's the thing. So, okay, the continuing resolution, Republicans are saying, oh, we want to pass a clean resolution. The last time a clean resolution was passed was 2012. Like, it's literally not a thing. Okay, it's literally not a thing. We always make adjustments to continuing resolutions. So here's the thing. So I'm going to take these one thing at a time. We have a continuing resolution. Republicans want Senate Democrats to pass this continuing resolution, and then they say that we will come back and have a secondary vote before the holidays so that we can continue the subsidies for American citizens so that they can afford their health care come January 1. But that's not necessarily a given because we don't even know what that looks like and if they are going to even continue them. So Democrats are saying, listen, we have this opportunity before the end of the year to make sure that millions upon millions of entrepreneurs and self-employed people and people who are employed are working two or three part-time jobs, but they don't have health insurance because the people don't offer it, right? That those people who are paying for their health insurance on the marketplace can afford their premiums. And we want to make sure that we get that done before we get out of here for the holidays. And we are gonna fight for citizens to make sure that they have their health care. Like, that's the first thing that's on the table. And then we could we could do the continuing resolution and the healthcare subsidies at the same time. That's it, right? Now, that's here. SNAP benefits. Let's talk about why SNAP benefits is an issue. SNAP benefits are an issue because the executive branch is choosing not to fully fund them, right? And put out those payments. And here's what I mean by that. It takes $8 billion a month to pay out SNAP benefits to everyone, okay? We have a contingency fund that has been funded by Congress, okay? And so we have two contingency fundings that came from Congress. One is $3 billion that is good through next year in 2026, August of 2026. We have a second $3 billion funded by Congress, right, as a contingency fund that is good until August of 2027. So total for SNAP, we have $6 billion readily available in the contingency funds for SNAP. Now remember, it only costs $8 billion to fund SNAP. The cool thing is so when Congress appropriates money, for example, for the USDA, okay, then what happens is the administration, right, in this case, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has what they call discretionary authority that within that department, within the USDA, he can go, oh, we're $2 billion short for SNAP benefits over here. We're going to take $2 billion out of this other account, and we're going to use that to fully fund them for November. He knows that he can do that because he did it during his first term. And when the judge issued the order last Saturday for him to do that, the judge outlined not only could he do this, the law that guarantees him the right to do it, and the account that has $23 billion in it as of October 8th, where they could pull that $2 billion from. So I have the order right here. So if you go to the executive order from Saturday of last week, right? Here's what it says. If you go down to, because there's like bullet points within it. And so if you go to on page 4, point number 2, it actually says, because the contingency funds do not equal the total amount necessary to make November SNAP benefit payments, the government has posited that implementing a partial allotment for the entire country, quote unquote, would be exceedingly difficult, highly disruptive, and delayed, requiring a reworking, blah, blah, blah. So the judge says, all right, let me tell you what you need to do. And so on point 4, he says, well, maybe I should go back. No, he says, so point 4, to ensure the quick, orderly, and efficient implementation of the court's order to fulfill the statute designation of SNAP as an entitlement and to alleviate the irreparable harm that the court found exists without the timely payment of SNAP benefits, the government would, within its discretion, find the additional funds necessary beyond the contingency funds to fully fund the November SNAP payments. Funds available for this include a fund created by Section 32 of the Agricultural Adjustment Act Amendments of 1935 that had over $23 billion in it as of October 8th, 2025. And you can find that in the open OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, State Child Nutrition Programs, and he gives them the link to find it. And USDA is authorized under 7 USC 2257 to use a percentage of appropriated funds interchangeably for certain expenditures.
Does this include 14 billion, like together with October and November, or is this just
October's already been paid and funded?
It's already okay.
Yeah, so there's $6 billion.
$2 billion.
No, so yeah, there's $2 billion needed because we have $6 billion in the contingency fund.
Okay, I gotta mix that up.
Yeah, we already have $6 billion in the contingency fund. So all the president needs to do is take $2 billion out of this account that is already under USDA that has over $23 billion in it, and we could fully fund SNAP benefits for November. We don't need a partial payment. There's no reason for people to go hungry. We literally have the money in the department that needs it.
So wait, for clarification, doesn't it kind of just say more for like the leverage that kind of just annexes it out? Well, not, sorry, wrong word. Kind of like voids it out because it doesn't really apply. So it kind of has to move on to another subject before the benefits run out for this year. Or sorry, not benefits, the time.
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
I'm just saying like they have to move on because SNAP is basically not an issue anymore, correct?
No, it is an issue because the president is choosing not to fully fund it. Matter of fact, they're not even using the entirety of the $6 billion.
Not fully funding it
because they. You tell me why.
That process anyway.
No, I don't know.
Forcefully.
So listen, I don't know why they're not funding it because they could fund it. They are. So this is the thing. The president of the United States is simply choosing not to fully fund SNAP. That's it. The money is there. It's in the USDA. The court outlined exactly how they could do it. And they are just saying, no, we're not going to.
I'm going to take a look into that.
Yeah, the court order is in my link tree if you want to see it. Literally, all you have to do is go to point 4 in the order. Point 4 begins on page 4. And that entire paragraph tells him where to get the additional $2 billion that's needed. And I believe it is point 1. So point 1 tells you about the $3 billion that was issued that is still good until 2026. And then the additional $3 billion that is good until 2027. So there's $6 billion readily available for the contingency fund. All the Trump administration needs is $2 billion. Yes, Sandra Doyle, we do have those funds. We do have those funds. They are in this account. And that's the thing that I think people need to understand. So that money.
Clarification for your link tree, you said 1 through 4.
Yeah. So when you go to my link tree, this court order is in my link tree. Okay. And when you open the court order, this is gonna, hold on, let me just take down my background for a second. Okay, so this is what the court order looks like. Okay. And so the first page doesn't have.
Take a screenshot of that. Like, can you hold it up?
Yeah, sure. This is the court order.
Like references.
Yeah, this is the court order.
Okay, that's good.
And then when you open the court order, this is the actual like beginning of the court order and you'll see it says page 2 at the bottom, right? So
Gotcha.
What you want to do is go to page 4 actually go to page 3, because that's where the actual order itself starts from the judge. And when you go to page 3, where it says it is therefore ordered, it tells you about the $6 billion that's already in the contingency fund. Okay. And then when you flip to page 4, paragraph 4 or point 4, the bullet point, that's where it starts. It tells them what law governs them being able to go get the additional $2 billion that is needed, what account to get it out of. And the judge actually looked up how much money is in that account as of October 8th. So as of October 8th, there was over $23 billion in this account in the USDA's already appropriated funds.
Are these PDF or are they just HTML?
No, this is a PDF. This is a PDF. Yeah. Yeah. So when you go to my link tree and you click it, it's going to open up a PDF. I downloaded mine and then I printed it out because I'm a paper girl. I like to be able to read it. Hey, Robin, good to see you. So when you say to me, SNAP is leverage, I don't know who for, because SNAP can be fully funded, period. Why it's not, you would have to ask Donald Trump. I don't know why the president is choosing not to fully fund it. I don't know, because they could.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Talking to you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
By the way, also before I leave, did not record you. Have a great day.
Okay, no problem. Have a great day. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to everyone else. Can we talk about how they try and keep people on SNAP instead of helping people become independent? No, because, and the reason why I say no to that, hey, Liam, the reason why I say no to that is because it's not really the relevant topic at the moment, right? I don't think that people understand what you have to do to even, or how little you have to have to qualify for SNAP, right? So no, I don't think that conversation benefits people, right? Because then we get into a whole bunch of other conversations that aren't about the fact that there are funds available. The president of the United States could 100% fund SNAP fully right now in this moment, at this time, and is choosing not to do so. Hey, Candy. Right? So that's it. And all you have to do is look at the court order. So if he says, oh, I don't have the authorization, you do, according to the judge and according to the law. The law is 7 USC 2014A. That is the fact that SNAP is an entitlement and not a benefit, right? And then using the funds is 7 USC 2257. Right? So that's the part that's really important. So for me, yesterday, when I saw, yesterday, when I saw the President of the United States having a glorious breakfast in the White House with GOP senators, which you can see this on YouTube on the White House's channel, on the very same day that his office is releasing a partial payment plan for SNAP benefits, right? I'm irritated by that. I'm irritated by that because you all are sitting down eating off a damn gold trimmed china, right? While your constituents are going hungry, while your constituents don't know how they're going to feed their children, right? And so that's a problem for me. Yes, we are having to pass continuing resolutions because we haven't done the appropriations bills. Yeah. Good gosh, you guys are asking a lot of questions. Hold on for a second. SNAP is not a safety net, in Jerry. SNAP is actually an entitlement, and this is something that I want to share with you all so that people get an understanding about the law. So, the United States of America, your government is required. Did you hear me? Your government is required to create a country in which you can live. Got it? So when your government doesn't do that for whatever reason, this law is written because you are entitled to it. The government says if we have not created a country where we have businesses, wages, trade agreements, resources that you can feed your family on your own, you are entitled for the government to help you eat. So let me be clear about this. This is not a benefit. This is not like, oh, this is a stopgap for you. This is an entitlement. And the judge outlines this very, very clearly in this order because of the writing and the wording in this law. Where does it say that? Got you. Right here. You ready? Page 4 of the same order that I just read from, right? If you go to number 3, here's what it says. Congress created SNAP as an entitlement. The statute provides that, quote, assistance under this program shall be furnished to all eligible households who make application for such participation. 7 U.S.C. 2014a. Finding that this provision, quote, grants a right to food assistance. Did you hear that? A right to food assistance to households that meet federally established eligibility criteria. If you go to Garnett versus Zillinger, which is 323F supplement 3D58, right? Section 2014A says, quote, it mandates that eligible households receive them. No, it doesn't say very poor. And it doesn't say as a stopgap. That's not what it says. It mandates that you have a right to food. And this money, that this has to be paid. So I want people to understand that. Good morning, little bird. Got me? Yeah, but here's my thing, Dodge. I'm not talking about Amazon right now because the way that our law is set up is our law is not set up that a private corporation does SNAP. Now, if you want to talk about Jeff Bezos and Amazon and him paying his fair share, that's a separate conversation that I completely agree with. But what I am talking about is the fact that our Congress, the people that represent this entire country, yes, which I am, right? They have written the law that the president is choosing not to follow. That's it. It's just that simple. So, Megan, let me just say this. I don't do things like that. And here's what I say. I don't like it when people say things are going to get violent. Because I don't think that we should speak things that we don't want to happen. Things don't have to get violent. People need to hold their elected officials accountable. If every Republican, Trump supporter, person who voted for the members of the GOP Senate, if every single person wrote letters to the editor, if every single person took a picture of their children, posted it on your social media, tagged your elected officials, and said, hey, Tim Scott, we're not going to get X amount of money to feed my children this month, and you applied the appropriate pressure and you held the elected officials accountable, you might get your SNAP benefits funded. But when you're sitting back just accepting it for what it is, then no, you're probably not going to get it. What's up, Macaroni in the house? Say hi to Sue for me. Like, that's it. And I want to say this to people: you have the right to say anything, right? What I am simply suggesting is that there is power in your words. Your words will oftentimes dictate the state of your mind. The your words also, we know when you have a certain mindset, things tend to follow right along with that mindset. And I'm not saying ignore reality. What I'm saying is do not project into the future negative events that you don't want to happen. Because if you're focused on negative things that you believe are going to happen, do not be surprised when those negative things happen. But you have the choice not to do that. I think it's a powerful choice to make. Now, does that require you be responsible for your words? It does. Does that require you to do a little work and shift your mindset? Absolutely, it does. But maybe we ought to be willing to put in a little work in order to create the society that we want to belong to. Right? Just saying. So, um, if there's somebody else that wants to specifically speak about SNAP benefits, and you have requested up, can you please put a heart in the comments if you requested up and you want to discuss the government shutdown, SNAP benefits, the healthcare subsidies, or any of that? Please put a heart in the comments so that I know. Because it's easier, Nini. It's a lot easier, folks, to be focused on other things that you can't control than to focus on you. Oh, thanks, Wawa. No worries, Ash. Yeah. Anybody else? No. Let me just double check so that I can kind of take a look. Um, I know some of you guys have requested to help the algorithm. If you have, good morning, Nance. I saw your messages. I am behind on them as usual, but I will get there. If you are in the queue to come up, okay, and you want to talk about the government shutdown, SNAP benefits, or whatever, please put a heart. Because if not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this report so that people can understand exactly what is happening. Because when the news is saying you're going to get half, that's not true for everyone. You're welcome, Shanna. That's not true for everyone. There will be some people that are just 1 and 2 person households that are only going to get $12. No, why they can't. It's already been funded by Congress. It is up to the administration to actually spend those funds. Okay? So, and then there are going to be about 1.2 million people that will receive as little as $0. Yes, this is why I wanted to talk about this today, because it is incredibly important. Okay? Actually, it's not optional that he obey the law. Okay? It's not optional that he obey the law. Mm-mm. And in my mind, somebody should be suing the shit out of him for not following the court order. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Macaroni in the house. So, different states have implemented different things. Different states have implemented different things. Some states have taken measures necessary. Yeah, they have filed lawsuits. That's this that I just read from, right? Yep. So I would imagine you're going to see something additional happening in this court case. Kingsley, what do you mean? Because your sentence doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You said, Dems, you stand up for the poor, follow these, you educated liberals that is leading. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. I don't know, Scotty. Hey, Tim Ratliff, good to see you. I seriously don't understand. I'm seriously trying to understand what he was trying to communicate to me because I don't know. Thank you guys for sharing the live, going ahead and doing your daily heart me that takes 1 coin, and then making sure that you click that heart again and claim your points. If you are on Facebook and YouTube, liking the live, sharing the live, commenting, all of those things are helpful as well. So appreciate you guys. All right. So since Kingsley isn't expounding upon what he was saying, I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. Oh. Yeah, you're welcome. No worries. No worries. This is an important subject. Yes, you do have to claim them. What are you talking about, Kingsley? I'm not MAGA. Bless it. Okay, I can't. Like, I can't. That's just wild for me. It's just a lot going on. All right. So, how is my picture misleading? I think my picture is pretty self-explanatory. It has a quote that the president said yesterday, and then it has children that are being impacted by the lack of funding for SNAP benefits. How's that misleading? I mean, now, if you mean you saw Donald Trump's picture with a smile, Trump is not a big heart. I'm aware, Vito, that's the reason there are hungry children around him. I'm aware he doesn't have a big heart. That is why there are children with a sign that says, I'm hungry. It's sarcasm. Yeah, see? It's sarcasm. You didn't get it? Okay, no problem. Next time, just ask me to explain. I'll be happy to do that for you. Happy to do that. Okay, so let me just share with this. So this is an article from NPR that came out today, and it says cuts to food benefits, food stamp benefits for low-income Americans may be far steeper this month than expected. And millions could receive nothing at all, according to a new analysis. Okay. So the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, which is a left-leaning research and policy institute, analyzed the partial SNAP benefits payment plan that the USDA put out yesterday. It was sent by the Trump administration to states yesterday. And when they analyzed that payment plan, it found that roughly 40% of households that get the maximum level of food stamp benefits will see payments cut by about half. Okay. But those people that do have some income, right? Which this is the thing that I want people to really understand. And these are the people that always get hurt the most. It's the people that have some income. So they make money, but they don't make enough money to not need the assistance, right? And so those are the people that are actually going to be hurt the worst by this payment plan. So if you have some income, whether that income is from Social Security, whether it's from disability, or whether it's from employment, you will lose a larger share of your payment plan. So you will actually be penalized for having some income, even if you're working for that income. How about that? We're going to penalize the people that have some income, whether they are disabled or whether they are working for that income. So some households that have 1 to 2 people in them will get just $12. And as many as 1.2 million households will receive $0. $0. So almost 5 million people will receive no benefits at all. This is according to Katie Berg, who is a food policy analyst with the center. They also estimate that under the partial spending formula that they used, they will only end up spending about $3 billion of the contingency fund. Not the full $4.65 billion that 2 judges said must be used. So they're not using almost $1.7 billion. $1.65 billion they are not using, even though 2 judges said they must use it, and they're only using $3 billion. Now, mind you, they have $6 billion that they could use. So they're only using half of what they could use without even borrowing money from anywhere else. Katie goes on to say, quote, they are in essence shortchanging families. They have funding. They've set up a benefit reduction scheme that means that they will not spend all of it. NPR requested for a response from USDA. They did not respond. So this is for every state, folks. They have the money. They don't need to sell the jet. This is what I want people to understand. The money is in a different account. So $6 billion is in the SNAP account, period. They have $6 billion they could just spend. They're choosing to spend half of it. I don't know what you mean when you say, where's the major portion? Because the USDA doesn't want to have to justify why they're not using all the money. Guys, all the money is there. They're just choosing not to use it. I don't know how many other ways I can say this. All of the money is there. Here's what they are hoping. They are hoping that if they allow people to become hungry, somehow you guys will blame the Democrats because the government is shut down, even though despite the government being shut down, there's money. There is money. This has nothing to do with the government shutdown. So, so what I covered, right, Disney Life, is this. There is $6 billion in contingency funds. There is a second account under the USDA that the Trump organization, that the Trump administration has the discretion to use. That other account has $23 billion in it. So they could simply take $2 billion from that account, add it to the $6 billion that is in the contingency fund, and fully fund SNAP. That's it. It is that simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I just need for people to understand that there's no way around the fact that the money is available, that the Trump administration and the GOP, please repeat. I got you, Sean Brown. I got you. I'm going to walk through this one more time for everybody, okay? So give me 1 second. All right, so here's the deal. And guys, listen, please make sure that you are sharing this live. Not for me, but for other people that really don't understand the situation and the circumstances. Sharing this live isn't about like, oh, let me help Dani. It's about how many Americans do not understand what I'm telling you. How many Americans have never seen or heard about this court order and what it says? Okay, so let me share it with you. So here's the deal. I'm going to tell you where the $6 billion came from. Yeah, Ash. Yeah, I am. I have a hard stop at 2 today, folks. I have a hard stop at 2. Okay, so listen, here's the way it is. So in the Consolidation Appropriations Act of 2024, Congress appropriated more than $122 billion for SNAP, okay? Of that sum, Congress directed that $3 billion remain available through September 30th of 2026 and be put into a reserve for contingency funds, right? So in 2024, Congress funded $122 billion for SNAP. They said, take $3 billion of that and put it into a contingency fund. And that money should remain available. In other words, don't spend it. It stays in the contingency fund all the way until September 30th of 2026 in case we need it. Okay. So then they maintained those funding levels for SNAP in the full year Continuing Appropriations and Extensions Act of 2025. And so they continued those funding levels, and they said, guess what? A second $3 billion should also go into this reserve fund. And that second $3 billion should stay in that fund until September 30th of 2027. So that means 2024 and 2025, we took $3 billion each of those years that Congress funded, and it was put into a reserve account to be used as a contingency for SNAP benefits. So there is currently $6 billion in that fund. It costs $8 billion every month to pay out SNAP benefits in full for 42 million Americans. Okay. Now, there is a second fund that is in under the USDA's umbrella. Okay. And when Congress funds money, they fund money and they say, this is how much is going for SNAP. This is how much is going for this program. This is how much is going for this program. However, when those funds are allocated under the same department, some of them, because the departments are, or because the programs are very similar to each other, sometimes that money can be used, quote unquote, interchangeably. Okay. So there's a law. It's 7 USC 2014A That law says that SNAP is an entitlement, okay? And it has to be paid to people. So there's another, so this is the SNAP bank account. This is the SNAP contingency fund. It's got $6 billion in it. The regular SNAP fund had $119 billion in it. Got it? Hold on. I'm going to tell you, Kelby. Give me 1 second, Kelby. Give me 1 second. Hold on. So there's $6 billion in the contingency fund that can be used. It costs $8 billion every month to fund SNAP. So there's another program called the State Child Nutrition Programs, and it has its own bank account under the USDA. Okay, so SNAP is under the USDA, SNAP's contingency fund is under the USDA, and the State Child Nutrition Programs, that is also under the USDA. And under the law, which is 7 USC 2257, the President of the United States has the discretion to use appropriated funds. And it says specifically under 7 USC 2257, the President has the discretion to use a percentage of appropriated funds interchangeably for certain expenditures. So what the judge said is, listen at what you could do, Trump administration, in order to avoid having to figure out partial payments, because that would be difficult, right? And it might take too long and it could hurt people. So in order to avoid having to do that, all you got to do is go into that fund, the State Child Nutrition Programs Fund, which as of October 8th of this year had $23 billion in it. Just go take $2 billion out of that account and fully pay it for the month. So then it won't be complicated. People will be able to get their full benefits, which they are entitled to under the law. And we don't have to jump through hoops and try to figure out some calculation as to who gets what. That's what the judge said would be the best option. Okay. Now, before it got to this judge, there were two other judges that ruled on SNAP. And those two judges said, listen, at a minimum, you have to use at least $4.65 billion that's in that contingency fund. And they're not even using that. They are only using $3 billion. Okay? So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. There's no other way around it. These folks are choosing to not feed senior citizens, disabled individuals, and children. That's it. Elaine, he didn't steal the funds. He didn't steal the funds. The funds are in the bank. People need to stop saying that. Conspiracy theories do not help us. The money is in the bank. Period. And so this is what I'm saying. So let me just tell you all this, folks. When you say things like, oh, I think he stole the money, what you're doing is giving him an out, and you are also giving people that support his administration a reason to defend him. Because they're going to say, he didn't steal the money. The money's not there. He can't give the money because it's not there. Don't do that. The money is there. The judge has said, this is the money, and the judge has checked the bank accounts to tell you how much money is in the damn accounts. All you have to do is stick to the facts. There's $6 billion available in the contingency fund. It costs $8 billion to fund it every single month. There's another account, State Child Nutrition Programs, that has $23 billion. And the judge said, according to the law, you can take $2 billion out of that account that has $23 billion in it, and you can fully fund SNAP so that nobody has to wait. Payments don't have to be delayed. You don't have to figure out what percentage to calculate for who. You can just let people eat. And Donald Trump is saying no. It's that simple. Cruelty is not the point. Money, power, and greed, that is the point. Cruelty is a byproduct that they don't give a fuck if it happens. You would need to ask the president why he's not using the full money. I'm saying this again. Cruelty is not the point. Money, power, and greed is the point. And if it just means being cruel to people is part of what happens, they don't give a shit. That's it, y'all. The rest is not in his pocket. The rest is sitting in the bank account, y'all. Stop saying that. The rest is not in this man's pocket. The rest is sitting in the bank account. He's getting his money from the cryptocurrency and the crypto people that he pardoned and the shit that he's selling. That's where he's getting the money from. He doesn't need to take it from the USDA. Y'all stop doing that. He's not stealing the money from the government. He can get far more money elsewhere. He doesn't need to steal SNAP money when he can get $400 million from Qatar on a plane, when he can get billions of dollars in crypto. Come on, y'all, stop doing that. That conspiracy theory shit is not helping. Yes, LB Donna, they include WIC. I'm just saying to you all. I really want people to understand this. It is not helpful when you say those types of things. Why are you saying things that A, you have no idea if it's true, and B, gives people a reason to defend him? If you simply stick to the facts, what he's doing is indefensible. If you stick to the facts, what he's doing is indefensible. I just want people to understand this. Guys, listen, do you have any idea how much money they make when they manipulate the stock market? He doesn't need to steal from the government money. He can make money in stocks. Do you know they prefer that, in fact? You do understand that, right? Rich people love it when the majority of their net worth isn't in cash. That's what capital gains is all about. So when your net worth is $10 billion, right? And the $10 billion is the stocks that you own in company, your portfolio that's in the stock market, right? And you actually only have $1 million. You don't pay money on you don't pay taxes on money that you borrow, even if you're using it against your account. So let's just say I have billions of dollars in stock, and I go to the bank and I say, I want to borrow $1 million because I want to live off $1 million for 3 months. And the bank says, what's your collateral? And I say, these stocks I have that are worth $300 billion. The bank says, fuck yeah, take this $1 million. I'm good, right? You don't pay taxes on that $1 million because it's a loan. You get to put it in your bank account to live off of it, and you still worth $300 billion damn dollars. They don't want to steal money out of government bank accounts. They want to manipulate stock markets. They want to manipulate banks. They want to increase their portfolios. No, Mike Johnson hasn't said anything about why he won't do it. Stick to the facts. When you stick to the facts, they are indefensible and unexcusable. Well, Judy, if you believe I am seriously confused, I would love for you to come and join me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this link and I'm going to have somebody put this link in the chat. Okay, Judy? When they put this link in the chat, if you are on YouTube, Facebook, or Substack, you can use this link and you can actually join me on this conversation, and we can have a respectful conversation. We can. So if one of my subscribers can pop down into the subscribers Discord and take this link and copy it into the Facebook chat, I would be greatly appreciative, because Restream doesn't allow me to do that. Okay. So I'm going to put this right here. And if somebody could take that and go put it into the chat on Facebook and YouTube, that would be amazing. Because Judy, what you can do is you can simply click the link that is in the chat and we can discuss it about why you think I'm seriously confused, because I'm pretty sure I have absolute clarity, because I have checked my facts and double checked and triple checked my facts, but we can discuss it. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. So Judy, you see that link right there that Amy just put that's in the chat on Facebook? If you will simply click that link, you will pop up here into my queue and I will add you to this panel and we will all be able to hear you and I discuss it respectfully. It's not hard to do. All you do is just click that link and put your name and you'll join right in. No, he's not stealing it, Jody, because he's not taking it for himself. He's just not giving it to the people that it belongs to. Thank you, Amy. It's on Facebook and it's on YouTube. So if you are someone that's on the Book of Faces or on the Tube of You and you would like to join a panel to discuss this with me, you're more than welcome to. The same way that I talk to people on TikTok, I am more than willing to talk to you on the Book of Faces and wow. And on the Tube of You. Yeah, thanks, Chrissy. This is important information. It's why I'm talking about it for so long. It's why I'm being patient with people. And it's why I'm willing to have conversations, because it's important. It is ridiculously important that everyone have a complete grasp about what this is. Well, because Rubies, I'm not asking you to comment respectfully about anybody. I'm asking for you to just be respectful. Alaikum salam, Muhammad. You guys get what I'm saying to you, right? Right. Conspiracy theories are not helpful. Judy, could you let me know if you plan to join or not, so I know whether to keep waiting on you or just to move on? It would be very helpful, Judy. If you don't plan on joining, then we won't. Uka, I don't know. Thanks, Michelle. So the link has been put in there twice, you guys. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. Folks, if you are on the tick of the talk, please make sure that you do a couple of things for me. Make sure that you use your daily heart me, right? Click this little sucker. It's 1 coin to do so. Send your daily heart and then click it again and then claim your points. All right? Please do that. And continue to like and share the live. All of that is very helpful. Okay? All right. So, is there anyone that is just now joining that has questions about either the government shutdown, SNAP, the partial payment plan, or the contingency funds around SNAP? Anybody that still has questions about those things? Thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate you. If you do have questions, please let me know so that I can address them and make sure that everybody has all the information before we keep moving forward. Because there are a few other things that I want to make sure that we talk about. Okay, everybody's good, I guess. It doesn't, the center, let me just look. I don't believe that the center actually outlines what states are going to be affected because I don't know that it's broken down by that. How's he getting away with partial payment? I thought the judge was clear. Well, the judge was clear, but all of the judgments, yes, the funding is there. The judge was clear. I think what will happen now is, so partial funding was available. But the guidance for partial funding was that, according to the 2 other judges before this one, the partial funding was that that he had to use 4.65 of the $6 billion, which they are not doing. So what will have to happen is somebody will have to go back to court and say, Your Honor, they're not using the full $4.65 billion, blah, 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 blah. So that's what has to happen. They'll have to file a motion, and then the judge has to determine, one of the 3 judges will have to determine if they hold the administration in contempt, which they could. And then the conversation is, are they going to hold them in criminal contempt? Or what does that look like? No, Sarah J, because, so this is the thing. I want people to be clear. The reason, in my opinion, the reason they are saying that they're willing to do a partial payment is because they know that the partial payment is something that requires a workforce to recalculate for all 50 states, right? What percentage each person is going to get based on their allotted amount of compensation. So they get to delay for a long time, right? Which they think will apply pressure to Democrats, when in fact, if people get the accurate information, it will apply pressure to the Trump administration and to Republican members of Congress, right? That's where it should apply pressure. And so they are simply kicking the can because, as you all know, Trump does not like to lose. And the way that he views this is he's in charge and he was going to double down and he's going to triple down because it doesn't impact him. Hey, Wadmi, it doesn't impact him. So you have to understand that, folks, okay? I mean, it's actually contempt of court as of today, Sarah, because the deadline was yesterday. So we'll just see whatever gets filed in court after that. Okay. So, yes, Little Red, that's exactly right. Well, Bad Pancake, that's exactly what I'm saying. He is in charge. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm glad you understand. He is in charge. So it is literally at his discretion that people are not getting the funds that they need to feed their families. You are correct. He is in charge. And that is why it is on his shoulders. Hungry seniors, hungry disabled people, hungry children, hungry Americans are absolutely on Donald Trump. Well, no, that's not the way it works, Bad Pancake. That's not the way it works. If you want to join my panel and have a discussion about it, we can do that. I've already clarified it for somebody else today. I'm happy to do it with you again. I'm sure there are other people listening that yeah, Sarah J, we just have to see. It has to go through. Listen, all of this is going through the court process because they know courts take time. No, stop lying, Bad Pancake. That's not good. Don't do that. Why are you intentionally spreading misinformation? Well, if you would like to tell me about my misinformation, join the panel. That's all you got to do. That's it. Here, I'll help you. Look, I'm actually even going to send you an invitation. There you go. Invitation sent. So join the panel and we can discuss it. Hey, Samir. Good to see you. Bad Pancake, are you joining or what? Let me guess, you're driving or you're eating or you're feeding a baby or what is it? What's the reason? Bad Pancake. Bad Pancake. Where are you? I am looking for something real quick. Sorry, guys. Why is this not doing what I want? Sorry, give me 1 second, folks. Okay. Okay, sorry. Yes, which it is. Yes, it is. My stomach is feeling better. Okay, so I'm guessing that you're not coming, Bad Pancake, so we're going to move on. Okay. So listen, if Bad Pancake doesn't want to join the panel, they can stay in here unless they spread misinformation. Okay. So that's it. No worries, Christina. Oh, what's on my cup? My cup says unalive them with kindness, not pew pews. That's what my cup says. It says unalive them with kindness, not pew pews. Bad Pancake left to get syrup. I guess so. Okay, so just so everybody knows, yeah, I got it from Brett Cross. Yeah, I did. All right. So, as for the tariffs, right? Um, Don, what do you mean? Don, what do you mean? I don't think that you're accurately reading my background, Don, and clearly have no idea whose live you're in. Clearly, you have no idea whose live you're in. Yes, John, because that's exactly what he said yesterday. Nobody has a bigger heart than me. Okay. So, if everybody is good on Snap, I just want to remind everybody about the court case that is before the Supreme Court about Trump's use and his authority for tariffs. And the main argument that the DOJ is putting forth is that they want to redefine tariffs and they want tariffs to not mean taxes. But yesterday, Trump's the DOJ's own attorney had to say that it is the American people that pay tariffs. Yes, Merlot. So that's the entire argument that they are utilizing. And so yesterday I went over part of. Let me see if I can pull the same article back up. Give me 1 second. Nope, not that one. Okay, give me 1 sec. I'm going to pull this back up for you. Whoops. All right. So I'm going to pull up just a couple of articles. I think one that I really want to look at is, so there's a blog on the, there's a SCOTUS blog, right? Which is the Supreme Court. There's a blog. And it's very, very interesting to hear their thoughts about these cases that are going on before the Supreme Court. So let me for a second. Hey, good to see you. All right, so everybody is good. Everybody is good, and they are on board with things. Ooh. Okay. I'm not okay, Ollie and me. Why am I not okay? I'm okay. Are you okay? Are you okay, Ollie? You don't seem to be okay. Like, are you okay? Because I'm great. Like, I'm just checking in. I mean, it's okay not to be okay. But I just want to know. I got it, Amy. I'm going to check it in just a second. Appreciate it. Can I get, what's up, Ben Kenobi? Yeah, that is a Mila question. You okay, Tutu? I am, yes. And yesterday my stomach was upset all day. Oh, I did. I saw it on the 4th. Okay, so folks, do me a favor. Can I get one of my moderators to just come do a quick mod announcement while I go get some more water, please? Can I get a moderator? If you guys can let me get water real quick. I'm going to go over the Supreme Court case on the tariffs, which is really important. And then we are going to talk about what I believe is a clear sign that the Democratic Party has gotten the hint. There is a big reason that I think the Democratic Party has gotten the hint. Appreciate you. Thank you for the mod. I'm going to go get my drink.
Hello, Danikin.
Whoop. You should be getting red hot.
You can hear me okay? Okay, so go ahead and continue to tap the screen for Dani as she explains all the stuff you need to hear, please. If you haven't done your heart meet today, please do that. Hello, everyone. Also, check out at any time Dani's link forest, as everyone calls it. She has a plethora of information that everybody would benefit in reading. She does all that hard work for us, so please support her in any way you can while she talks to us for hours, mostly every day. But tapping is free. Heart me is just 1 penny. Sharing the live, reposting, all those things help our algorithm so we can continue to keep her uplifted in this TikTok world. So,
thank you. What's up, Eddie? Good to see you. Thank you, Red Hot. Appreciate you, sis. I got you.
You're welcome. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Oh, girl, you know better. You know better. And at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to open up the panel for our Palestinian friends. And the way that I'm going to signal that is I will put on my kafia and let them know that we're going to open up. And if you have magic beans that you do want to contribute to them, they do need it, right? It is winter in Palestine. They are between the river and the sea. So it is very cold. Oh my God. Hold on. I don't know why this is a thing. Like if I decline, that means I can't talk. Okay. All right. So here we go. When I put on my kafia, that is the signal that okay. So give me 1 second. When I put on my kafia, I'm opening up the panel, and this is what I'm going to say to you. Oh, hold on. Let me see. What is this? Sorry, guys. Okay. So, all right. I think I'm good with all the messages and handling things. All right. So a couple of things, y'all. Things are desperate in Gaza, and I'm going to talk about that in just one moment. Okay. So thank you, Petal. Petal, I don't remember whether or not you speak Arabic or not. If you do, if you could type in the comments that I'm going to open the panel in 30 minutes, that would be very helpful to me. And they'll know that because I'm going to put my kafia on, and then they'll know that it's open. Thank you, Wadmi. I forgot you were in here, sis. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to open it in 30 minutes. I have a hard stop at 2. Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this Supreme Court case and tariffs. Okay. So yesterday, things that aren't looking good for the Trump administration is this court case, which, by the way, Mama, if you are still in here watching on Facebook, our boy is the one arguing this case before the Supreme Court. So if you are, Neil Katyal is the attorney for the private companies that are part of this lawsuit against the Trump administration over tariffs, which we love. And then there's somebody else that is the attorney for the states. Okay. I was just thrilled to pieces when I saw that Neil Katyal was the attorney, because he's quite brilliant and amazing and all the things. Okay. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things. First of all, this is from Amy Ho, which is, she wrote this article on the SCOTUS blog. If you don't read the articles on there, I definitely would. These are attorneys and individuals who are writers. They listen to the Supreme Court hearings. They take a look at what the judges are saying. They give you information based on what they know about the court, what they know about the judges, what they know about the way that they rule, all of those things. So I'm going to share with you this blog. So this is from this morning at 9:39 a.m. Okay, so this is really new stuff. So hang in there with me, all right? So it says, the Supreme Court on Wednesday seemed skeptical of President Donald Trump's authority to impose sweeping tariffs in a series of executive orders earlier this year. Alaikum salam. During more than 2.5 hours of oral arguments, I got you, Sandy. Thank you, by the way. I'm trying. All right. So during more than 2.5 hours of oral arguments, a majority of the justices appeared to agree with the small businesses and the states that are challenging the tariffs that they exceeded the powers given to the president under a federal law, which is the EEPA law. That's the little acronym for it, which provides him the authority to, quote unquote, regulate commerce during national emergencies that are created by foreign threats. And I think that it's really important that everybody understand what that means. Okay. So this law does give the president certain powers in order to regulate commerce, but it is only under national emergencies that are created by foreign threats. And regulating commerce does not mean applying taxes to people. Okay. So this is what the blog goes on to say. The law at the center of the case is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which is the IEEPA Act, right? It was enacted in 1977. The president can invoke it, quote, to deal with any unusual and extraordinary threat, which has its source in whole or substantial part outside the United States to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States, end quote. If he declares a national emergency, quote, with respect to such threat, end quote. Under Section 1702 of that law, when there is a national emergency, right, the president may, quote, regulate importation or exportation of, quote, property in which any foreign country or national thereof has any interest, end quote. That does not mean tariffs. It means you can, anyway. Yes, Marie, I agree. But he's not from another country, right? I mean, his family is, but he's not. I love Neil too. I do. I love Neil. All right, so here we go. Raja, hella, Raja. For those of you guys who do not know, hella in Arabic is like saying hey, or like yo to like a friend. It's like a more informal greeting. Mahadra is more of the like good morning or hey. Let me get you. Okay, so listen. Relying on this law, the IEEPA, Trump issued a series of executive orders beginning in February that imposed two sets of tariffs. One set, often referred to as the quote unquote trafficking tariff, targets products from China, Canada, and Mexico, which Trump says have not done enough to stop the flow of the F party favor, TikTok doesn't let me say, fentanyl, into the US. And then a second set, known as the reciprocal tariffs, right, imposed on initial tariff of 10% on imports from almost all countries, and even higher tariffs on products from dozens of countries. In imposing those reciprocal tariffs, Trump pointed to large trade deficits as a, quote, unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and economy of the United States, end quote. The dispute before the court on Wednesday stems from three challenges to these tariffs, okay? Two different groups of small businesses alleging that they face serious economic harm from the tariffs filed lawsuits in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia and the U.S. Court of International Trade. A group of 12 states, led by Oregon, also brought a lawsuit in the Court of International Trade. The state's lawsuit was joined with the case that was brought by the small businesses. So now you have one case, right, around these tariffs with two attorneys, states, and small businesses. Got it? So the challengers contended that Trump did not have the power under IEEPA to impose the tariffs. The lower courts agreed. And in September, the Supreme Court agreed to take up the dispute and to fast track it. Representing the Trump administration, U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer began by emphasizing the basis for the president's decision to impose the tariffs. He said that Trump had, quote, determined that our exploding trade deficit, sorry, I chuckled. He said that Trump had, quote, determined that our exploding trade deficits had brought us to the brink of an economic and national security catastrophe, end quote, and that, quote, the traffic of fentanyl and other types of those party favors into our country has created a public health crisis, taking hundreds of thousands of American lives, end quote. Sauer told the justices that the IEEPA, quote, confers major powers to address major problems on the president, who is perhaps the most major actor in the realm of foreign affairs, end quote. The phrase, quote, regulate importation, he added, plainly embraces tariffs, which are among the most traditional and direct methods of regulating importation. Okay. What's up, Jen? Good to see you. Neil Katyal, who we love, representing those small businesses, countered that decision. And he said, this is what the decision is. He said, the decision, quote, comes down to common sense. It's simply implausible that in enacting IEEPA, Congress handed the president the power to overhaul the entire tariff system and the American economy in the process, as evidenced by the fact that no other president in nearly 50 years, quote, has ever tried to impose tariffs, end quote, relying on that law. Appreciate you, Jen. Indeed, Neil said, quote, Congress knows exactly how to delegate its tariffs powers. Every time for 238 years, it's done so explicitly and always with real limits, end quote. Now, if Trump prevails in this case, Katyal continued, he said, quote, another president could declare a climate emergency and impose huge tariffs without fines or without floors or ceilings, end quote. Now, Sauer, the administration's lawyer, faced a barrage of questions from the court's liberal justices. But that's not all. I know that's what it says. Appreciate you, Jen. But it was also the conservative justices. So we're going to get there in just a second. Justice Alana Kagan, for example, emphasized that Congress not the president, had, quote, the power to impose taxes, the power to regulate foreign commerce, end quote. Sawyer countered that the president's authority under IEEPA came from what he described as, quote, two layers. We talked about this yesterday, you guys. The president's broad constitutional powers over foreign policy and foreign relations, and, quote, layered on top of that is a sweeping delegation of authority from Congress, end quote. Those two layers combined, he said, reflected a recognition that the president has, quote, inherent powers to address international emergencies, end quote. And he said that the IEEPA gave him the, quote unquote, tools to do so. Sawyer also insisted that the president, in imposing the tariffs, was not exercising a power to tax. Instead, he said the tariffs were simply, quote, regulatory. Now, it is hilarious, I know. Now, Justice Sonia Sotomayor was unconvinced by that latter argument. And here's what she said, quote, what's up, DJ? Quote, it's a congressional power, not a presidential power to tax. And you want to say tariffs are not taxes, but that's exactly what they are. They're generating money from American citizens, revenue, end quote. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson pointed to what she described as the purpose of the IEEPA, noting that the law, quote, was designed and intended to limit presidential authority, that Congress was concerned about how presidents had been using the authority under the predecessor statute, end quote, which was the Trading with the Enemy Act. So, and she said, so, quote, it seems a little inconsistent to say that we have to interpret a statute that was designed to constrain presidential authority, consistent with an understanding that Congress wanted the president to have essentially unlimited authority, end quote. Is everybody with me so far? Everybody with me so far on what the arguments are from the Justice Department? Where did my mods go? Gotcha. Okay, done. I got them, Jen. All right. So additional, and this is the part where it gets really good, you guys, really good. So additional skepticism came from Justice Neil Gorsuch, who raised two related objections to the powers that Trump is claiming. Gorsuch asked Sawyer on Trump's theory, quote, what would prohibit Congress from just abdicating all responsibility to regulate foreign commerce, for that matter, or declare war to the president, end quote. And a few minutes later, no, he doesn't, Linda. I'll get to immunity in just a second. This is completely about tariffs and regulating economy and applying taxes to U.S. citizens. But to answer your question, no, Donald Trump or any other president does not have blanket immunity. There's a whole other thing that goes with that, which we'll get to in just a second. Appreciate you, Sandy. Okay. I don't know that I've seen that galaxy globe before. That's pretty awesome. All right. So, and a few minutes later, Gorsuch suggested that one problem with reading a law like the IEEPA to give the president broad powers would be that it would create a, quote, one-way ratchet toward the gradual but continual accretion of power in the executive branch, end quote. Because once the president had such powers, he could veto any effort by Congress to take them back, which I would argue is the plan. Some of the other conservative justices joined Gorsuch in voicing skepticism. Chief Justice John Roberts, for example, suggested that Trump's claim of power under IEEPA might violate the, quote, major questions doctrine, which is the idea that if Congress wants to grant power to make decisions of vast economic or political significance, it must clearly say so. Quote, no one has argued that, end quote. Oh, thanks, Sandy. The phrase, quote, regulate importation, end quote, gives the president the power to impose tariffs, quote unquote, until this particular case, Roberts observed. Moreover, he added, quote, Congress uses the specific term tariffs in other provisions, but not here. And yet, Judge Roberts said, the justification is being used for a power to impose tariffs on any product from any country in any amount for any length of time. So Judge Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts is making this distinction for the Trump attorney, for the DOJ attorney. And he says, listen, there's a major question doctrine that is going to present a problem for your argument. He said Congress always uses the word tariffs when it is specifically delegating the ability for someone else to use power with regard to tariffs, right? And Congress intentionally did not use the word tariffs in this law because the purpose of this law was to actually restrain the presidential authority that a president might have with regard to importation and exportation, right? So he's saying, listen, you're arguing that this law allows you to impose tariffs when in fact that word that has been used by Congress in the past is not included in this law, right? So the government's attorney, thank you. So the government's attorney countered that, quote, the point of the statute is to confer major powers to address major questions, which are emergencies, end quote. And he's suggesting that, quote, the major questions doctrine doesn't apply. Get the fuck out of here. Of course it does. Okay, so let me explain the major questions. She outlines it really great in this brief, in this blog. The major questions doctrine is a principle that the executive branch of the government cannot act on a major question of economic or political significance without clear guidance from Congress. This is where people need to remember separate but equal branches of government. This idea when people say, but he's the president, he's in charge. No, he's the president and he is somewhat in charge of the things that are under his control, but not everything is under his control. And it's important for people to understand that. Congress has just as much power when it is operating ethically and with integrity, right, as the president does. And so does the judicial courts, right? The Supreme Court, okay? I'm reading from, it's a website called scotusblog.com. These are attorneys and they write blogs based on what's happening in the Supreme Court and Supreme Court cases. So people really forget that equal but separate powers, right? He doesn't have unlimited power, right? And that's why people, so see, I would not have said no kings. I mean, I love the fact that people are rallying and are protesting under the no kings. If someone had asked me, it would have been no dictators. It would have been no dictators, period. Because kings are respected. Kings are admired. Kings rule oftentimes for the best of their people. Dictators do not, right? And that's the difference, right? So what we should be saying is no dictators. All right. Let me go on. So Gorsuch, however, echoed Roberts's concerns about the application of the quote unquote major questions doctrine, asking Sawyer whether a president could, quote, impose a 50% tariff on gas-powered cars and auto parts to deal with the unusual and extraordinary threat from abroad of climate change. Sawyer indicated that the Trump administration would, quote unquote, obviously say that climate change is a quote unquote hoax, but that another president would be able to do so. I can't, like, you literally just had the attorney representing the Department of Justice standing before the Supreme Court saying that the current administration would say that climate change is a hoax, despite science, evidence, and every other respected country, developed country, like, yeah, everybody knows it's a thing. It's a thing. But anyway, just, you become more and more, you just become embarrassed every day. But anyway, so Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who we know sometimes we love her decisions and sometimes we don't, okay? But she asked Sawyer to point to other places in federal law, quote, or any other time in history, end quote, where Congress uses the phrase, quote unquote, regulate importation, end quote, to give the president the power to impose tariffs. She literally said, point to any federal law where they use the words regulate importation, salami money, and it means impose tariffs. And she said, matter of fact, not just in any federal law, point to any other time in history where those words were used to imply or to mean that they could put in tariffs. She said, do that for me. Show me any other time that that's been argued as the case, right? And I want you all to understand something. The Heritage Foundation spent years upon years, right, after Trump lost, finalizing, fine-tuning what is Project 2025, right? They realized what didn't work during the first administration, where they hit roadblocks, where they hit speed bumps, like where they got deterred. And then they examined the Constitution to find any weakness where they might be able to get the court to agree with them that those words didn't mean what we've always interpreted those words to mean. Okay. They've even written a book about it. All right. So that is why they feel comfortable making these arguments. They don't really know if they're going to win, but damn it, if it's enough of an argument that they can get decisions in a court to get it all the way to the Supreme Court, then they're fine with that, because on the occasion when it does get ruled in their favor, it just adds more to the power structure that they want to develop, right? For whoever is in the administration. Hey, SB. All right. So she also pushed back against Sawyer's suggestion that the other verbs in the provision authorizing the president to, quote, regulate importation, end quote, were, quote, capacious, end quote. I'm going to look up the word to make sure I know what the fuck I'm talking about before I tell you what it means. Having a lot of space, roomy. Do you know, this is where I get, and I know that they're Supreme Court justices and all of that, and they're supposed to be very smart, and people are supposed to know they're very smart. And I think it's very important when we write a fucking blog about it, that we write it in a way that everyone in the country can understand it, no matter. I guess that's what it meant, but I wanted to look it up to be sure, because I'm all about the facts. All right. She said it was too broad, too spacious, too roomy. The language that was used, all the other verbs, and therefore should be read broadly. Because, and then she said, quote, because to me, things like nullify and void have definite meanings, right? End quote. But Barrett was also skeptical at times of the challengers' arguments. Along with Justice Brett Kavanaugh, she pressed Benjamin Gutmann, the Solicitor General of Oregon, who represented the group of the 12 states, about whether IEEPA, on the one hand, could give the president very broad powers, for example, allowing him to shut down all trade with another country, but on the other hand, would not allow him to take the much smaller step, in her view, of imposing tariffs. Such a paradox, Kavanaugh suggested, created a, quote, odd donut hole, end quote, in the IEEPA, which is, of course, what they were looking to exploit. Gutman later responded both that IEEPA gives the president, quote, a range of tools that are more calibrated, end quote, than simply imposing a, quote unquote, complete embargo. Moreover, he added, other trade laws could allow the president to impose tariffs in such a situation. Barrett asked Cattell, go Neil, to address what would happen if the challengers prevailed and the tariffs were deemed invalid. In particular, she expressed concern that the process of providing reimbursements for the tariffs that had already been paid would be, quote unquote, a complete mess. Cattell stressed that there is a, quote, whole specialized body of trade law to deal with the reimbursements, although he did acknowledge that the process is, quote unquote, a very complicated thing. But he added that the prospect of the reimbursement process could be messy, quote, isn't a reason not to do something. And he offered that the justices, he offered the justices several options to take the sting out of the process, noting that they could, for example, put their decision on hold to let Congress step in or rule that their decision would only affect tariffs going forward. There's lots of possibilities, he concluded. Now, here's what I love about what Neil did there, okay? So follow me. When a judge is asking you about a potential problem in granting what you want, right? The judge is saying, okay, so let's just say we do let you win. We do rule in your favor. What about this very complicated, very messy thing about reimbursing tariffs to these small business owners? Like, that's horrible. Neil could have just said what he said at the very end is that, hey, listen, that's not a reason not to rule this way. He said, that's not a reason to not rule in our favor. And here are some things that you could do to offset or to mitigate the mess. That's smart, because rather than just say, hey, a mess might happen, but that's not a reason not to rule in my favor, he's given the court options to consider, right? He said, here's your solution. Here's a bunch of different solutions that the court could also implement that would mitigate your concern, thereby giving them the opportunity to move forward with where they're going, right? Justice Samuel Alito, and we're not surprised by this, seemed sympathetic to the administration's argument. Of course you did, traitor. Telling Cattell that statutes that confer emergency powers are often phrased quite broadly. Cattell resisted that suggestion, citing Justice Robert Jackson. He countered that, quote, when you're in an emergency situation, the statutes actually have to speak with more precision. The public needs to know because emergencies beget emergencies, end quote. And much like Barrett and Kavanaugh, Alito pressed Cattell about how IEEPA would operate in an emergency, describing a situation in which there is, quote, an imminent threat of war with a very powerful enemy whose economy was heavily dependent on U.S. trade. Could a president, under this provision, impose a tariff as a way of trying to stave off that war? Or would you say, no, the president lacks that power under this law, end quote. Alito appeared to believe that the president would have that power, but it was not clear whether he had 4 other votes on his side. The Trump administration and the challengers have asked the court to move quickly in deciding this case, but there is no way to know exactly when that will be. I believe they have until the summer to rule, but I expect them to rule much sooner than that. So that is where we are on the tariffs case, right? What I am encouraged by are the number of justices that are normally conservative justices who are critical of the government's argument. and pushing back against it in such a thorough way, right? That makes me happy. All right. So, the remaining two things that we are going to talk about right now, the first one is going to be the Democratic Party, what I believe is going to be the new Democratic Party, and why I think that is so. And then we are also going to talk about a couple of things that are happening around the world that have to do with the United States of America, right? Inger, I'm not sure. She asked what happened to the Louisiana case for redistricting. I'm not sure. I would have to look it up. Did anybody have questions about the tariff case and where we are? Anybody questions about that? What's up, DJ? Good to see you. No, everybody's good? Okay, great. Let's keep moving forward. As I go over this next part, I'm going to be bringing up my friends that are in Palestine. These folks, you've been driving to an apartment. The tariff situation is a mess. We are involved in the lawsuit. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Abigail. Appreciate it. You're good, Merlot? Okay, perfect. I always like to check, make sure everybody's good before we move on. So today we have very, very, very thoroughly covered SNAP benefits, the government shutdown, health subsidies, the ACA marketplace, whether or not undocumented, unauthorized immigrants have access to those things, how much money is or isn't available for SNAP, and what the Trump administration is choosing not to do, which is, in this case, feed the American people. Cool. Sounds good. Coolest mom ever. All right. So as I talk about this next thing, this is usually, now that I'm done unpacking and I have it, I can put it on. This is usually when I throw the kafia on so that my friends in Palestine know that I'm going to open up the panel, right? And so we're gonna get going. Now, here's the thing. If you are on TikTok, and if you are not on TikTok, let me say this, because this is super, super, super important. If you are not on TikTok and are unable to give them some magic beans using the TikTok features, right? Then you can go to my link tree, and there's a group where it says Palestinian support links. Those links are in there to directly assist these folks. The folks that are in there are people that I know directly. Most of them are Palestinian members of the press. Not all press members have been getting paid. All of them are being impacted because we are supposed to have 600 trucks a day getting into Gaza. We are not. We are getting significantly less than that, only around 160 trucks a day. People are desperate. They need to eat, and it is getting cold. They need tents. They need blankets. They need rent. They need to be able to pay the rent for the spot where they're going to put their tent. So they need to be able to get clean water and food. And those are things that are absolutely true in the quote unquote ceasefire, which, by the way, we are approaching 300 people, 300 Palestinians who have been unalived since the ceasefire began. And I say ceasefire with quotes, people, okay? Because that's no such thing. And by the way, Israel has begun dropping big boom booms on Hezbollah. Somebody remind me when I start to talk about Gaza. Somebody remind me to talk about Israel's election. Right now, what I want to talk about is the Democratic Party. Okay. All right. So let me do a couple of things real quick. Give me a moment.
Hello.
Hi, Island Boy. I thought I hit somebody else, but welcome. How are you?
man, long time follower. I've been listening to your lives. I originally requested when you were talking about the SNAP benefits and the healthcare
Okay.
issues because I wanted to talk about that. But
No, we can talk about it before we move on. We can talk about it. Absolutely.
yeah. So about the healthcare benefits that the Democrats are talking about, hi, how are you? I just made a video about that just a little while ago about the healthcare benefits. So what people don't realize, since the ACA came into being, these subsidies, healthcare subsidies, have been part of the ACA from the beginning.
Correct.
To keep the costs down.
Correct.
What people don't seem to remember in this country, we have very short political memories in this country. Republicans have consistently, since the ACA became law, shut down the government to extract concessions from the Democrats for things that are already passed into law.
Yep.
These things, they've been little by little, by a million paper cuts, chopping away at the subsidies to the Affordable Care Act. The subsidies to actually fund the exchange, to subsidize the cost of healthcare plans and exchanges, and subsidies for hospitals for certain types of equipment and certain types of tests that they need to do. Okay? Yep. So the Republicans have been consistently chopping away at those things. So healthcare costs under the Affordable Care Act has been gradually going up for the years, right? Yeah. And the Republicans have been using the fact that it's been going up to say that the Affordable Care Act is a failure. Yes. Okay? Yep. So guess what? And the American public, we are notoriously unsophisticated when it comes to politics. We don't pay attention to the stuff like that, right? Yep. Trump, female as ever, wants to erase everything President Obama ever did because President Obama made fun of him. Yep. He can't let that go. And plus, he's a flagrant racist. So what's been happening, right? So we ran into COVID. The Democrats saw that we dropped 1 million bodies. Plus, still dropping bodies from it, by the way. People don't seem to realize that. Yes. Okay? And so they looked at where the subsidies used to be when the Affordable Care Act came into being and where it was now, and realized that the amount of uninsured Americans has grown steadily, and that this pandemic brought the uninsured American population to a crisis mode. People are literally unaliving because of that. That's why we dropped 1 million plus bodies, in addition to Trump's incompetence on it, right? Yeah. So the Biden administration, as part of their Build Back Better bill, reinstituted subsidies, which basically brought the costs of the exchanges lower than it has been in years. And so the amount of Americans insured slowly grew throughout the Biden administration's term, throughout the 4 terms that Biden was dissolved, Biden and Kamala in office. Okay? Yep. Republicans get back in now. Trump still intent on destroying everything President Obama did, plus the subsidies is attached to COVID, which they think was something that made them lose. They want to destroy anything to do with COVID. Yep. Politically, they're just adamant about ripping this thing out. Yes. So it serves 2 purposes. They want to thumb their nose at COVID, and they want to rip President Obama's legacy. And so they're trying to rip that thing out and then further use the spike in costs now to say the Affordable Care Act needs to go away. But they don't realize people are paying attention to this stuff now. Yes. People realize that the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare is the same. They're finally realizing what it is now. Yep. And they're trying to do it in their face. But Trump is so venal. He can't let things go. Even Brandon said so. The billionaire Brandon said, like, he can't let things go. So he's insistent. So he doesn't want to move on ripping up those subsidies. You know what I'm trying to say? Yep, I got you. And, it's just one of those things that led into him getting a thumping this week Tuesday. Yes, and a thumping they did get. Yeah. And then to see him rip down the White House, and then, he burned hundreds of metric tons of food earlier this year, and then having this lavish ball at the White House, and and just this opulence he's throwing in people's face while refusing to fund people, and then grocery stores who wanted to give people in their community who qualified for food stamps some free bags of groceries, if they spend a certain amount of money,
Yep.
The president and the administration actually wrote an email those grocery stores and the grocery store chain telling them you cannot do that, otherwise we're going to come after you.
Which is
They're
crazy.
insistent on using hunger as a political weapon against the Democrats. So it's like Democrats choose whether or not the American people are going to eat or whether or not they're going to have health care. So you have to pick either one. You can't get both. Like somebody was up here earlier basically saying that. This guy that was up here earlier saying this to you. Oh, can't be. Why can't it be both?
Yeah. No, it should be both. And it must be both.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. And this is exactly what I said. However long ago it was now, when I did that little short video and I said, my advice to the Democratic Party, don't blink. And I meant that like with every fiber of my being. They have to stand their ground and they have to be really, really consistent. And I mean, every day, the same way that Trump and the GOP is consistent in their messaging, like just bombarding it. Every day they need to be bombarding and saying to people, we are fighting for your health care. There is no reason that you can't eat and have access to safe, quality, affordable health care. This is the United States of America, right? And those two things have to be possible. Don't blink, and then be consistent in your messaging, backed up with facts.
You know what's crazy? It's like, I think Raphael Warnock did a very good video, very stark video. One of his constituents, a few of the constituents gave him permission to share what their healthcare costs used to be and what it was going to be under the new rules.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a family of four that paid $550, around that much, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're paying that much. Family of four. Their new healthcare costs after $550 paying for a year or more is now going to go up to almost $2,200 a month.
It's crazy. So
who can afford that?
So here's what I would have said. Like, if I were part of Raphael Warnock's team, and I haven't seen the video that you're talking about, right? But if I were Raphael Warnock, I would have, if they gave me permission to use that, I would have taken my tail right to their house. I would have sat at their kitchen table. I would have had their kids or their parents or whoever is part of that family unit around. And I would have had that discussion with them. And that would have been my video. That would have been my video. And the reason why is people need to see regular American people and not just members of Congress telling stories, because it's abstract. Show them the people. Don't just read them the people's words. Listen, have your team line up 10 families in your district. Take your tail home for one weekend, see all 10 families in 2 days, get all of it filmed, let your team edit it, and come back to Congress and be ready to work.
You know, I think that's a good idea. The only problem is these MAGAs out here are violent. They will go after those families, like, personally, like threaten them, call them and stuff like they've been doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like Mikey Sherrill, I'm in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Mikey Sherrill has gotten so many threats, it's insane. The news doesn't even report on it anymore. Okay?
Here's my thing.
They called in explosion threats on election day.
I know.
In Jersey.
But it's different. And here's why I think this would be different. Okay. We did this. So I'm not part of Rural Ground Game, but Lindley Thorne, that is her organization. And they did that very thing in Virginia. And it's different when MAGA, when they see their neighbor and they know it's their neighbor that is going through that, they're not going to threaten their neighbor. They know their neighbor. They sit on the PTA board with their neighbor. They go to the ball games with their neighbor. They can sit in the same pew at church with their neighbor. It's different when it's that. right? When it is someone that you know that is in your community. And I think that's the part that has to break down. It needs to be not Democrats versus Republicans. It needs to be, this is your neighbor and you know their children or you know their health conditions because everybody at church talks about it and y'all put them on the sick and shut in list, or you go pray for them and bring them food when they're in the hospital, right? You know who's going through it. Connect the dots, connect the actions to your neighbors.
You're 100% right. And it's a shame that there are people who call themselves Christians who are basically making fun of people going hungry right now. Telling people, oh, they need to go get a job. Like, I made a couple of videos on my YouTube channel, and some of the comments that I've made under my YouTube account, I'm just like, wait, what is wrong with you people?
Because they're disconnected from it.
Oh, what is wrong? Like, I mean, I'm telling you, as a person from the Caribbean, the pervasive culture down in the Caribbean is one of scarcity. We don't waste food.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And to see the level of wastage up in this country of food, deliberate wastage, where companies have policies that they have to destroy unused food instead of giving it away because they can't make a profit off of that unused food, that has always broke my heart. I've shed tears when I've seen stories like that.
Yeah.
People are hungry and they like, I'll tell you, I have a video on here where I'm literally weeping on camera. And I didn't expect to weep because when I heard about them burning the hundreds of metric tons of food,
right,
I was talking about it in a rational way, but then the emotion just hit me and I started crying.
Yeah.
Because it's unfair. How can you burn hundreds of metric tons of food because you want to be politically vindictive, because you want to stick it to the Biden administration?
Yes.
Like, what is wrong with you? If you want to ship the food overseas, right?
Yes.
Okay? Before it spoiled, as the excuse you made, it was sitting there for months.
Correct. It was
spoiled. Say, okay, we're not shipping it overseas. Let's send this food over to countries across the United States. Let's feed the American public.
Yep.
The American public could use the contraception, could use the food, could use the baby formula, could use canned goods, could use everything, could use MREs. All that stuff was in there.
Yes.
And you know what they did? They let it sit there. Although we need to unwind US. No, you don't need to. And it's like that broke my heart. I'm getting emotional to talk about it because they're deliberately making people go hungry and bullying local supermarkets to not have them help.
Right.
This is unconscionable. This is evil. And anybody that's out there that's acting like if this is okay, that this is good, you need to get a job, something's wrong with you. You're touched by the red one for you religious folks out there. Something's wrong. I'm not playing. I'm done. You drop me down.
No, you are exactly right. And to add on to what you just said, like I know in Paris, they don't, like here, it's crazy that we throw out in our grocery stores, we throw out produce that doesn't look good. If your produce is deformed, like if your carrot grew with two heads, it doesn't go in your grocery store. It's crazy to me. That's illegal in other countries, right? It's weird to me. And then this is how crazy we are. This is how corrupt and just we turned that into a business, right? It's called Misfits. So you can pay for cheaper. You can buy misshapen produce from so someone why do we think everything is to be turned into money? That's going to be listen, the greed and the love of money will be the downfall of this country if we don't get it together.
And let me connect one of the dots for the food, for the healthcare especially.
Mm-hmm.
You see, part of the thing that Republicans passed to make this this one big beautiful ugly bill, so-called deficit neutral, was basically they moved the subsidies from the Affordable Care Act somewhere else, filters, and it ended up as part of the tax cuts. to make the tax base deficit neutral. So they move money from one side of the federal government to another side, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So basically, why they're resisting, because that means if they have to give back those Affordable Care Act subsidies, then the tax cuts that are already front-loaded, that these billionaires are already counting on, right, becomes even they go straight to the deficit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's one of the reasons why they're holding so hard. They don't want to give back the ACA subsidies, because they've already spent that money. They've spent the ACA subsidy monies already. The billionaire bodies, Bezos, Zuckerberg, and them have already banked on this for their first quarter in 2026 returns. They've already scheduled that. They have that planned out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And this is the part that, and I keep saying this, you've followed me, so I know you've heard me say it. When you can keep the regular person living paycheck to paycheck, and you can keep them either underinformed, misinformed, or disinformed, right? And they're worried about how to pay rent, and they're worried how to do this and how to do that, right? You can get away with a lot. And we see that happening every single day in politics. Which is why we need serious change, which I think is coming. I do think it's coming.
I hope so.
Me too.
Anyway, I took up enough of your time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you.
I've listened to you quite a few times. You can drop me down to keep listening.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you. So yeah, that leads us kind of right into what I'm talking about right now. So folks, we've got two folks from Palestine that are on the panel. They are the boxes that have the timers. If you have magic beans that you want to be able to contribute, it would be greatly appreciated, so that they can get some food, some cooking oil, some rice, all of those different types of things, and maybe possibly help get their blankets and all of those things, because winter is here pretty much, right? Okay, so that leads me right into this next conversation about the Democratic Party and the change that I believe is absolutely coming and is here. Okay. So one of the reasons why I think the change is here, it's not just because of the election night results, right? I think the election night results is what needed to show up in order to show the Democratic establishment that people want something different than what's already been there, right? So they didn't just hear it on the fringe. They weren't just hearing about it from, the progressive end of the Democratic Party. They are hearing it, and they saw it in the votes, right? So what people are feeling showed up in the votes, and it was very specific, right? It was very specific. If every Democratic candidate had fallen into the regular Democratic box, it's different. They saw how close Omar Feta came in Minneapolis. They saw what happened with Zoran Kwame Mamdani, right? Mamdani. They saw what is happening everywhere. They saw Mississippi break the supermajority from the state legislature for the first time since, for the first time in forever, right? And I think what you saw and what today is the response. And I think you see Nancy Pelosi saying, it is time for me to pass the baton. And good. In my opinion, it took too long to get her there, but she's there, right? Salam Abu Malik, right? It took too long to get, but she's there. I think, in my opinion, we need to see a few others do the same thing. And because if you don't see them do the same thing, you are going to see them be primaried to hell, right? Mark my words. Schumer is going to be primaried. Jeffries is going to be primaried. Fetterman going to be primaried and voted the fuck right on out. It is going to happen, those Democrats that have been on the fence, those Democrats who are siding with Republicans, I think you're going to see a big deal when it comes to Maine, right? Susan Collins is in trouble. And not just because Janet Mills is running, but there's a couple of others. Oh, I think Cory Booker is 100% also going to be primaried. 100%. Right? And I think it's just really important that people pay attention because, and I keep saying this, so, all right, here's the deal. We are at this stage where we witnessed for a decade the overtaking of the Republican Party, right? And the existing party doesn't have not all of it has what it takes to meet that need. They don't have it. They do not have it. And what you are seeing is a new generation. And I don't necessarily mean just young people, right? Because I'm not young, but I'm dope as hell, y'all, in case you didn't know. So it's not just young people, but it is people who have their finger on the pulse of the people. It is people who have a heart and the courage to say the things that need to be said and do the work that needs to be done on behalf of people, right? And we are seeing that more and more and more, right? And as we see that, you are going to see the Democratic Party changing. It is changing right in front of your face. Appreciate it, Island Boy Pundit. But it is changing. And let me say this. Here's what I don't want people to do, right? When people said, oh, thanks, Abigail. Appreciate that. Welcome. So when people say it was time for, Nancy, and people talk about her age, and I don't want to do ageism. Can we not do ageism? I don't like that. Just because someone is of a certain age doesn't mean that they're no longer useful, or that they don't have the right perspective, or that they automatically need to be replaced, The reason why I don't like that, okay, is because it is ageism. It is discriminatory, right? It is discriminatory. There ain't nothing wrong with Bernie Sanders' brain. He old as hell, and he hasn't missed a beat. Right? Let's not do that. Ageism doesn't mean, this is one of the reasons why I don't support term limits. We, the people, are the term limits. You hear me? We, the people, are the term limits. I don't care if you're 25, but you suck and you're not doing what you need to do for the constituents, you need to be voted out. If you're 75 and you are doing what needs to be done for the constituents and you're not missing a beat, then you need to stay in. This is not about who's what age. This is about who has the vision, who has the message, who has the momentum, right, to carry the party forward. That's what this is about, people. This is not going to be your mama or your grandmother's Democratic Party anymore. It's not going to be. It is changing right before your eyes. And it is time. Right? You thought David Hogg was a good track. To be honest, I think that, so I don't know. I love Sheldon Whitehouse. What do you mean? What do you mean? I love Sheldon Whitehouse. Like, Sheldon Whitehouse makes me happy. Not just because of the things that he says and the things that he stands behind and what he does, but the other things that make me ridiculously happy when it comes to Sheldon Whitehouse is he has the integrity to stick with something and do right by people, right? It took that man until last year. It took him 6 years to finish his full congressional investigation into the confirmation hearings of Brett Kavanaugh. But he did it. He finalized the report. He put it out for everybody to see and to know and to hear. Right? That says something to me. He could have very easily said, well, hell, it's over. He's already in the Supreme Court. It doesn't matter. But it does matter. It does matter when the administration that was in office at the time told the FBI not to investigate over 4,000 tips. 4,500 tips came in about Brett Kavanaugh. And the Trump administration said, don't investigate them. When they had the FBI send those tips straight to the White House, that's a problem. And it matters. And thanks to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, we know that. That's my point, Becky. So here's what happened. We don't even know what they were all about, but I will tell you. So here's what happened during, so Sandy, don't say no coins or points. Don't do that. They already know that they are limited because of what's happening here in the States. I'm just bringing them up and allowing them to sit there, and people can give whatever magic beans they have, right? I don't want to say no points or no coins, because that's not necessarily accurate, and all of it matters. All right, Alan Boy Pundit, have a good one. I don't know if Wadmi came back. I know you're having issues with internet and electricity, but if you did and you want to request back up, let me know and I'll bring you back up. Yeah, just tell him to be patient. Just don't say no coins, no whatever, just because I don't want them to think that that's the thing. All right. So, well, so here's my thing, Jody. I don't know that it's getting harder and harder to find valid information. I think that people aren't looking as much either, right? I think that people know there are places to get valid information, right? And I think that people need to ask, right? People can follow The Guardian. People can follow NPR. People can follow Politico, ProPublica. Zateo is one of my favorites. Okay. I know most of you all know Mohammed OS. He is Palestinian First and a dear friend of mine. Alaikum salam, Mohammed. So, for those of you all who do not know,
Dani, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, keep halik. So,
Alhamdulillah, Dani.
yeah, Kiwanis. I think I'm saying that right. So if you don't know, you guys, so Mohammed OS is press and a great friend of ours. He has a toddler, Osama, and he also has a wife that is pregnant with twins. Into Galvi, Bahabek. Bahabek Habibi. So, just so everyone knows, you know, they do have a tent. We help them get that. But they absolutely need blankets and water and all of those different types of things. Thanks, Sandy, for helping out. What I would, so when I know specific things and things like that, then I'm going to do that. But just remember, folks, that if you do not have it, do not give magic coins. You missed his kind voice. Yeah. Mohammed OS is great. So Raja was also here earlier, but I think he's gone again. I got to see Raja at like 1:30 this morning when I was on, and we had the children from the Speak Up school, where they are attending school in Gaza in a tent, learning English. They have other classes where students come to learn Arabic and other things like that. But Ahmed Durwali, there he is, right here. He's the teacher of that class, and his students. They sang for us and played guitars for us, and told us about their daily activities in English this morning at like literally 2:00 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. Marhaba, Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Sorry that I have noisy here.
So I hear your babies.
Like they are playing.
Yeah, he has twins.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Carla.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I'm good. I am well. Look at the brothers. What's up, the brothers? I haven't seen you in a minute.
Let me say salam for my friends here. Assalamu alaikum, guys. All of you, assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, we love our friends. Yeah. So just so that you all know, I know that some of you all aren't getting your SNAP benefits and some of you don't have to give. I want you to remember this. Yeah. Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam to everybody so that we all say it. But listen, if you don't, please understand this. I am not, they are not. This is the thing that's very important for you all to remember. They are not upset with you either. DJK and A Money have been telling them about what's happening here in the States. Yep, I need somebody who's in the States to request up to hold space on the panel. So I have more than one American on the panel, so that TikTok doesn't get me. But so listen, yeah, we need balance. Thank you. They are not upset with you either. It has been explained to them what's happening here in the United States. Thank you guys so much. So they understand. Renee, that's fine. Tomorrow will be fine. I promise you, I'll be live and they'll be back tomorrow. The way that they are using food as a weapon in Palestine guarantees you that these people will be here tomorrow. For many of them, there is no economy back home. Thanks, the brothers. There is no economy. There are no jobs. And so, the TikTok coins aren't much, but at least they are something. But again, in my link tree, there are direct ways that you can help as well. So if you want to do that where TikTok doesn't take anything, you are more than welcome to do that as well. Okay. So this thing about the Democratic Party changing, I will say this, I am ridiculously excited and hopeful about where we can go. Right? Hi, baby. Mwah. I love the babies. Mwah. So cute. Mwah. Into Galibi, Habibi. Mwah. So cute. So beautiful. Don't you love it? So for you guys, you can't see him. He's blowing me kisses. Bye. But guys, it's really important for everybody to realize that unfortunately, resources are being used as a weapon. Food, clean, safe drinking water, blankets, rice, cooking oil, they are being used as a weapon. And while there might not be huge explosions happening every day right now, many of them still do not have what they need. Some of you might notice that when some of them join with us, you might see them wearing the same shirt every time they join. Many of them have lost everything. They are literally going around with what they can carry. Some of them have, I personally know people that have been displaced between 14 and 19 times in the last 2 years. Can you imagine packing up all of your things and having to move in the middle of a G side 14 to 19 times? Sounds good, Carla. All of those things have been happening. And so sometimes I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, I don't know how to tell him because I don't know his name. So the gentleman that has the head injury, I will make sure that I bring him up. I just don't know how to tell him in Arabic. I need to learn that phrase. I need to learn that phrase. I know some phrases, but definitely not enough. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. So I just want people to know and understand that things are tough here. And there is something that I truly believe with all of my heart, truly believe with all of my heart. Yeah, no, I need you to keep the balance, Red Hot. I need you to keep the balance on the panel. So listen, if you do not have the financial ability to give, I understand that. They understand that. And what I believe with every fiber of my body is that desire is honored, and someone who does have that ability will step in and fill in that gap. I know that to be so. I see it time and time and time again. So I just want you all to know that, so that you know, I don't ever want anyone to feel pressured. Okay, thanks. I also don't want anyone, good morning, world artists. I also don't want anyone to feel sad or guilty or shamed. No one. You hear me? So I just needed to say that for everybody so that we all have clarity and we are all on the same page with things, because they do understand. It has been explained. So currently, like we've been going over the you know, what's happening here with SNAP benefits and how many Americans, 42 million Americans, still don't have their SNAP benefits. They still don't have their SNAP money. Those people don't know how they're going to pay groceries this month, right? And while it is amazing that communities come together and people are helping each other out, that should not be necessary, because according to the law, it is your government's responsibility to do this. You are entitled, according to the law, to those benefits. And the fact that this country, this administration has the funds to give them to you, has the audacity to have costume parties and Great Gatsby themed parties and buy $170 million jet for one person and, you know, build a $200 million ballroom for another person. Listen, the fact that this country has the audacity to do that in your face should make you angry. And what I am suggesting is that you take that anger and that you transmute it, that you change it into something that is motivating, something that allows you to take action. And then I want you to do what so many of our Palestinian friends are doing right now. Allow the people around you to bless you. If you have a need, allow people to know that you have a need. This is not the time for your pride. This is not the time for bravery. This is not the time for ego. This is the time for community. Okay? So if you have a need, if you have children, if you have babies and you need formula and you need diapers or you need, snacks for school or any of those things, don't sit back and suffer. Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't have anything to be ashamed of. Being in need, having lack is nothing to be ashamed of. Being poor or an average person doesn't make you less valuable. There's nothing to be guilty about. Yeah, living with the lads, they are expensive. Listen, I was hella motivated to potty train Mila. Yep. So when we talk about getting to this, 1,500, 2K mark, the reason we talk about doing that, folks, is because it will get, at least some funds that help. Yeah. So, and I know that Sandy and several of the other mods and Dannykins are working to organize an angel tree for some of our folks, for your children, and things like that. So once we get an opportunity to put it together, I will, we'll get it posted in the Discord so that people know. Okay. Because we want to take care of each other while we take care of our Palestinian friends at the same time. Okay. So just so that everyone understands, I appreciate you, Louds. I really do appreciate you for getting them there. I really do appreciate it. Look at you showing up and showing out. I am very grateful, very grateful. Thank you, Nancy, as well. Thank you, Nancy, as well. I have said this 1,000 times. I wish I had $1 million, to
I will take all of them, inshallah.
I love him. So let me do the boxes real quick, just so everybody knows. Okay. So he's a civil defense worker. So think firefighter, paramedic, all of that. He's press, has a toddler, wife is pregnant with twins, home is in rubbles, has a tent, needs blankets, food, those things. On the other side of Mohammed is our teacher who also has twins, who teaches English at the Speak Up School, and is incredible, right? The brothers is a friend of ours, a student who just graduated, even after being in a G-side for 2 years, and took his exams, and I believe passed with 85, I believe, and is doing fantastic things and helping his family. And then the gentleman who's just up down here in the bottom right corner, with the kafia around his face, 90.3. Didn't mean to shortchange you. You need all of your points. The gentleman that's down here in the bottom right, he and his family were hit with a drone while they were sleeping. He has a significant head injury that impacts his speech. I have seen him on camera multiple times. I do not want him to come on camera or speak today. When he speaks, it is extremely hard for him. So we are not requiring that to give him some magic beans. We're not doing that. I do not want him to suffer. He was here last week and needed coins for medication and things like that because medication is limited. And I want you all to understand something. If they do not have the medication, the facilities, the equipment that they would need to treat people, they don't get to just say, oh, I've got the money, I'm going to go to Egypt and get treated. That is not the way that it works in Palestine. That is not the way that it works in Gaza. That is not the way that it works. It is Israel. It is the Israeli occupied forces that determine if they get to go to the doctor, if they get to travel, if they get to go from Gaza to the West Bank. They do not get to make that determination on their own. It is quite literally an apartheid state. I appreciate you all for gifting and showing out today. You're making my heart really happy. I do appreciate you all. And so he's going to try to talk. Alaikum salam. Alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. أنا مشغول واحد ساعد في علاجي. الله يبارك فيك داني.
Yeah. Brothers, can you tell him I don't want him to strain and talk today? Or Ahmed, either one. Ahmed?
أخوي ابن غزة هي قاعدة بتحكي عنك وقامة بالواجب. ما تغلبش حالك في الحكي، بتهش هيك تتعب. الله يشفيك ويسلمك ويعينك. إن شاء الله. إن شاء الله يا رب.
He just actually he just thank every single one who support and gives him to support him to get his medicine.
Yeah.
Just that's what he said actually.
Yeah, I don't know his name, and I'm not going to ask him today. But last week we were able to give him enough magic beans, and he was able to get medication. So you all heard what it sounds like when he's talking. He was on camera a couple of days ago, in Abu Saraj's live, and was trying to talk, and it was literally bringing him to tears. It's very difficult. So I'm just letting everybody know that, yeah. I don't know the name, but this is why it's really important.
Salam Dani.
Salam Habibi. Salam Habibi. Is it a girl or a boy? Habibti? Maybe. I can't see. So, salam alaikum salam. So when it is a boy, you say Habibi. When it is a girl, you say Habibti. And so I was looking to see.
It's getting better. Yeah, you can differentiate between female and male. MashaAllah, I can see it. Habib and Habibti.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Inshallah, we will join. You have to join an Arabic course in our school, inshallah.
Oh, inshallah. Absolutely. Inshallah. Definitely. Hi, baby. I love it. Hi. Oh, beautiful, Habibti. Beautiful. I don't know how to say beautiful.
I love you.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. Inta Galbi, Habibti. Inta Galbi, Habibti. She's beautiful. So I want you guys to understand how rough this is, because Palestinian people are proud people, right? They are proud people, and they don't want to be in a position to ask people for help, right? But they have to. They don't have food and water, and blankets and tents and all the things that they need. And so I really want you all to get that when they're in here, and sometimes you'll see people saying, "Can I come up? Can I come up?" It is not because they're being greedy. It is because they are desperate, and because people are weaponizing basic necessities against those beautiful babies that you see. They are weaponizing food against those babies. which is horrible, horrible. And it's just simply not okay. It's just simply not okay. So I just want you guys to remember, either Ahmed or the brothers, can one of you all just tell them that I keep 3 Americans on the panel to balance it so that TikTok doesn't take down the viewership.
ماشي جماعة، بخصوص ده أنا بتحكيكم للجماعة خصوصا من أهل غزة، هي بالعادة بتخلي 3 من أمريكا عشان تعمل توازن في البث، على أساس من ما ينحضر أو يذكروا لها اللي هو الهدايا. فهي بتعمل توازن، بتطلع شوي من غزة وبتخلي 3 من أمريكا.
100%.
وشوي شوي إن شاء الله هتطلع هي.
شوي. That's a little like, I know that because listen, you'll find this funny. The other day, somebody was on, I think it was Mohammed OS was on, and he brought somebody over to introduce them to me. And I did my usual, like, marhaba, Keith Halleck, right? And I'm thinking they're going to say,
Yes.
What is it, Kiwanis? And they were answering me in Arabic. And I said, hey, shway Arabic. Shway Arabic. I was expecting, whenever I say Keith Halleck, I was expecting him to say alhamdulillah, because that's what everybody says. Nope, that joker was really answering me. Yeah, it was funny. I said, oh, he's giving me way too much. Yes.
English.
Right. Shway Arabic, shway English. Mohammed. Yeah, you guys would have just laughed at me. It was hilarious. So anyway, for the folks that are down here, because we are at this place right now where I'm going to be talking about international things, and you are free to hang around if you would like to. It is out. I know, Wadmi. Wadmi, do you have a link tree? A link thing? You have to be careful on TikTok. They don't like it when you start asking about things like that. But she just has no. You need to make one, sis. You need to make one, sis. Can we try to see if Wadmi can make it? She's been up and got dropped a couple of times because of the internet. Yeah, the brothers, are you sure?
Dani, thanks for that.
He has
A delay.
poor connection.
Yeah, he has a bad
Believe
connection.
me, it's always an educational life, and
Poor connection.
yeah, you can drop me, Dani. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, the brothers.
You hear me?
Shukran. Yes, I can hear you, Wadmi. I can hear you.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, sis.
How are you done today?
Oh, alhamdulillah. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Good.
Good. I am glad.
I need to tell you something. Raja word is hala hala. My sentence is ahlan ya hala.
Ahlan ya hala?
Yeah,
Okay. Tell me what that one means.
the same meaning.
Same meaning? Okay, hold on. I got to learn it. So let me. Okay. Okay, say it again for me.
Ahlan ya hala.
Ahlan ya hala.
Ahlan ya hala.
Ahlan ya hala. Ya hala.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Ahlan ya hala. I'm going to download this and practice it. So Madam Gaza, and she said, why the same people every day? It's not the same people every day, but they are the people that I know. And yeah, girl, because I don't.
No, madam, I didn't up here yesterday, and just 2 people up here yesterday, not all people.
Nope.
Just 2 people.
Yep, it was just 2 yesterday, and then I had to go unexpectedly, and then I was on at 1:00 in the morning, 1:20 in the morning.
Yeah, I saw you opened one.
Yep, we had all the babies. We had all the
Yeah,
babies.
but when I saw the notification, you in the live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sucks. That sucks. But yeah, so they sang for me. Wait, I'm gonna download it today, so that I can get them. Oh my gosh, this one kid, he sang the most beautiful songs to us in Arabic. Such a handsome little boy, and he's 12 years old and was singing for us. It was gorgeous. It was great.
Danny, after an hour, when we've done the live,
Mhm.
another one came. His name Mahmoud. He has also a beautiful sound. Inshallah, next time, inshallah, or tomorrow, inshallah. After tomorrow, I will send a short video for you on the green app.
Yes.
And inshallah, we will invite him, inshallah, in another live broadcast, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, that would be
We have
amazing.
three in the shelter. They have a beautiful sounds.
Wow. Yeah.
I will send for you a video for Mahmoud, inshallah. Okay, who sang today. Another one.
Thank you,
inshallah.
guys. Perfect. Sounds great.
I
Thank
need
you,
to
Kat.
ask you about something. You was talking about a link tree.
Yeah. Well,
GoFundMe.
you can't say that word on TikTok, but yes, that's what I mean. One like one of those types of things. Yes. But
Link of a fund can begin.
yes.
I made one on Go funding.
I got it. Yep.
But I used
It's a GF app.
no,
GF app without.
no, not the same. Not the same. Go funding me, not go funding me.
But if you say any of those words, if you say the F word, TikTok is gonna get me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So
I did one with Binance portfolio, but it didn't success.
okay.
And that with zero balance.
Okay, I need to message you. There is one that Bilal uses that's really easy, and I'll send it to you. I'll send you the.
A big favor for me. If you do that.
Yeah, I'll send you the name of it. Because Bilal, he's another one of the Palestinian press members. He uses it, and then I can put it in my link tree. I need the one for the school too. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So, you bought some bags on the TikTok shop. You know what I need to get, Steffi G? I need to get some more of my NAD on the TikTok shop, because it's supposed to be really good for you and supportive and whatever, and out of all the brands. But I took my last ones today.
Is it vitamins and marginal?
Yeah. It's NAD. So I need to get mine from the TikTok shop. That's what I need to do. But yeah, so okay. If we can also do
If somebody explains to Miriam in Arabic, maybe, they're telling me that they always include Abu Sharaj and stuff, but I don't know them, so I don't know.
what
The
she
ones
said.
that want to come up, it says they always wait every day to come up.
Okay. Yeah, so I know Sammy. Sammy is good. Hold on, let me look. I know for sure Sammy is good. And I'm Sharuk Mahana, I believe, if that's the right one. Somebody can see if A Money is available, but those are the two I know for sure. I can't remember Maram Gaza, so I don't know for sure, and I forget. But Sami, I know.
يا جماعة إذا بتعرفوا حدا من اللي تحت احكوا لداني. إذا بتعرفوا حدا من اللي تحت مشان هي مش عارفة مش متأكدة منهم. إذا بتعرفوهم احكوا لها.
Ahmed, can I drop you for a minute and then bring up Sami? Nope. I guess I can. Sandy be making executive decisions for me. Okay, folks that are down here on the stack of sub and the book of faces and the tube of the U. I'm pretty much done for the day. We're going to be talking about Palestine and Gaza and all of that. So if you want to stay tuned in, feel free to come to TikTok, especially if you want to do some magic beans and what have you. That would be greatly appreciated. Other than that, I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I appreciate you very much. Hope you guys have a great day.